good to see yous. How you doing, Mick? Corey Lad, Neil Williams, stay. How we doing? Tony Smith, how you doing? Squirrel Sniper, hello there. Let me just make sure I've got everything that I need open here. Bear with me a little second here. Right, how we doing? You didn't catch any double speak, Rachie, no worries. No worries. Is this you here to try and, you know, debunk reality? Yeah? You don't think Sabine's double speaking? Gravity's not a force. You're not accelerating to the Earth. When you're touching the Earth, you're being accelerated by the Earth. But if you remove the Earth, then you fall towards the centre, which would be a black hole. So if you're stationary on the surface of the Earth, and then you remove the Earth and you start going towards the centre of where the Earth would be, that would mean that you're accelerating. You're going from something stationary towards... There's no double speak though. No double speak. Rachie, I suggest you just go and fuck about with flatzoids and the likes, because if you're going to come here actively denying reality, then I'm going to absolutely rip the pish. So if you don't think she's double speaking, I would like to hear that. I know it's geodesic, she warping embedded in space-times and stuff. We went through this with you before, Rachie. Special pleading for special circumstances and conceptual gibberish about a non-entity known as space-time, warping and bending. But here you are, obviously back defending it again. Okay, dokie, I would love, if you want to come in and speak to me, come in and share your rationale, your logical reasoning for believing in this tripe. It just pisses me off, Rachie, right? I can't be fucking bothered with morons actively denying reality and then trying to defend the little cult priests. If you watched it, you say you never caught any double speak. Well, what filter did you have on when you were listening to it? It's not a force, you're not accelerating, but there's motion. So motion's acceleration, If that's no double speak, I don't know how you missed it. How do you have an accelerating ball? How can somebody dare to profess that they're rational and they're reasonable and they're logical and they're into science and truth and all this stuff, when you know fine well it's the Earth that's in motion, but you still want to accept that it's a ball? Okay, dokie. Yes, I had a good time. I hope you all had a good time. Maybe it's just because people don't know what double speak means. Marty, good to see you there. V Thomas, JT again, just in the woods. Daza Grazo. Jai C, hello there. QN Fees, hello there, good to see you. You've been making me laugh, QN Fee, honestly. I have been absolutely in tears of laughter at some of the last stuff that you done. I love that laugh. Stuart Lundy, hello there. Anyhow, so I've been sent numerous things, and I think it's very curious now that we're getting these types of reactions from, you know, these people. You know, how many times now I've seen videos from mainstream globe earth proponents now professing that the earth's in motion, but it's not in motion. So that's double speak, right? It's in motion, but it's not in motion. There's acceleration, there's no force. There's acceleration, but there's no acceleration. So I've been sent a few of these now. I don't know if anybody's seen the other ones. The sky is falling upwards. There's a few other ones that I've seen recently, but John D sent me this one. I had seen it coming up. I think I watched a couple of minutes of it. So I'll just get through it and we'll have a listen, you know. And again, you know, people like this, you know, Sabine Hossenfelder and whoever, who somehow become an authority in a priesthood within a little cult, or a massive cult in this regard. I just wish that they would come to the table and have the actual discussion, instead of this perpetual avoidance, creating a dichotomy of one side of the fence and the other side of the fence. Again, I don't care, globe earth, flat earth, all these conceptual models. I'm not interested in people's concepts and ideas. You know, if people are professing and claiming that they're objective and that there's an objective inquiry into the world that we all share, then that should be unified, it's singular. There's no room for debate. As soon as we hear debate, we're looking at ideology, we're looking at concepts, we're looking at bias interpretation. We're not just accepting reality and the practical and what it actually is. Again, I've said this so many times before, the practical real world requires no language. Language is the tool that we're using right now to convey. Okay? So we have to be very meticulous about the language that we're using, because it paints all sorts of pictures in people's minds. People have all sorts of faulty interpretations, misunderstandings, you know, because it's wrapped up in language, and it doesn't help when we've got this kind of double speak, gobbledygook. You know, as I say, if you don't know what double speak is, go and look at what double speak is. Anyway, I don't get any notifications. The last notification I had was, well, I got one 3 days ago from a video that I put a comment on 2 weeks ago, and that's it. I've got no notifications, none for comments, nothing. Comments that are on my videos, nothing. I don't get any notifications. So anyhow, let's just get into this.
Video is all about Albert Einstein. Yes, that guy again. Einstein is famous for his theory of general relativity. It's taught us that gravity is not a force, and that's probably the most misunderstood physics fact ever. Like, even physicists get it wrong all the time. Gravity is not a force, and since there's no force pushing down on you, that means you're currently accelerating upwards.
So, you know, interesting about there's no force pushing down on you. You know, again, it seems to me there's a lot of reaction going on from people making discoveries and them having to react. You know, whether that is the case or not, it seems like that to me. Because nobody was talking about any of this stuff, and now all of a sudden we're getting these videos. So, as I pointed out before, you know, as I stated with gravity, and the same with the stationary flat earthers, you're going to need something surrounding us or above us that flows in a particular direction. not only that, you know, this force is going to have to flow downwards, causing downwards acceleration and upwards acceleration at the same time. Because remember, we've got a gradient, and in this worldview, these people's paradigms, there's a dichotomy, there's a doubling, there's an upwards acceleration and a downwards acceleration. So this gravity, or whatever it is, if you're a stationary flat earther, you're going to require this force to be multifaceted. That accelerates upwards, downwards, and not only that, it halts and ceases buoyancy and density in free fall, stops air bubbles rising, stops dense materials sinking, and inverts and accelerates everything uniformly. Again, rooted in absolutely bugger all. No human being has the grounds to even postulate such a force. No human being. They have never in any practical sense demonstrated it, witnessed it. It's just not something that's part of reality. This is what happens when we allow mathematicians, conceptual lunatics, to start interpreting reality for you and making decisions and conveying ideas and concepts about your reality. So the only way stationary Earth or globe Earth is going to work is if they invoke some mystical magic. A multifaceted force capable of all sorts. Harry Potter.
Unless you're watching this from the ISS, in which case please say hi to the moon. How does gravity work if it's not a force? That's what we'll talk about today.
Gobbledygook's just another word for doublespeak, so she's claiming that there's no gobbledygook or doublespeak, but that's exactly what we're going to get.
An accelerometer is a device that measures acceleration. If you'd hold an accelerometer steadily in your hand, it'd tell you it's accelerated upwards. This isn't hypothetical, weird, theoretical physics talk. You can buy one and just see what it says.
Or you can hold a glass of water in your hand and see that the water's displaced and that the water's below the ear. Right? Very, very simple. Or put a bubble in the water and watch it accelerate upwards.
This is an example of how the reading of an accelerometer looks like when it's lying still on a table. It tells you it's accelerated upwards. And this is entirely correct. If you
still being relative to you within the reference frame, or at rest being relative to you within the reference frame, not stationary.
An accelerometer still on the surface of Earth, it's indeed accelerated upward. Why does that surprise you? If you hold something on your hand, you feel that it's pressing against your hand downward.
No, it's not. No, it's not, Sabine. There is no downwards acceleration. You feel that because you lifted it and you're now applying an upward force to the thing. That's what you're feeling. And it's resistance to motion, which is a whole other discussion.
It's like when you're trying to accelerate a car with your hand, it'll push against it. If you hold something in your hand, that's not the gravitational force pushing it down, because gravity isn't a force. It's pushing on your hand because you are accelerating it upward. Why is the thing in your hand accelerated if you don't move your hand? It's because you are accelerated, and you are accelerated because there's a force pushing on you from below. That's the floor, or rather the atomic bonds in the floor and in the ground below.
The atomic what? Bonds in the floor, right, whatever. Making it solid, is that what you mean? So, you know, how are we going to get a force? Because the globe Earth pushing up on you is going to have a vector that pushes upwards and outwards. Actual motion. But that's not how the globe works, is it, Sabine?
You see, the entire Earth has internal pressure. Otherwise, it'd collapse. That pressure generates a force on everything on the surface. And as Newton taught us, a force creates a...
But the pressure is only pressure relative to the motion of the reference frame. Because again, in free fall, you don't have pressure. It goes, if you put a system like water, gas, liquid, solids, in free fall, and you've got something to measure the pressure in there, the pressure goes. The pressure is only relative to the motion of the reference frame. You can accelerate a small reference frame in any direction and you can create a force vector or a pressure vector, right, as we have recreated and shown over and over and over again. I can invert directionality, I can invert the density and buoyancy gradient and the motion vector in any direction. I can hold a glass in my hand with an air bubble rising and something sinking and add to the vector by accelerating it upwards more, and I can increase the rate of the buoyancy and density motion vector. So we'll bypass this just now.
Acceleration. So that pressure of Earth creates a force which accelerates you on the surface.
So a pressure that's no moving creates a force while it's no moving. This is what I'm saying. Double speak galore.
But wait, you may say, there's also the gravitational force pushing down, so the two forces balance to zero, right? No, because gravity is not a force. Gravity is a consequence of moving...
See, in that scenario, you know, if they were going to talk about gravity as a force, like something pushing downwards, right, or a flow of some kind, you know, imagine like you pull the plug in the sink and you've got that flow going down the hole, and then you put something solid there to block that downward. But again, in order to have that flow of the water in the first place, you still need a force present. You need the motion present. So again, when we have a bottle with water pouring out of it, if you perforate the bottle and there's water pouring out of it and you drop it, the water stops flowing out of the bottle because the force, the pressure is now not present within it. There's nothing to dictate that.
Balance to zero, right? No, because gravity is not a force. Gravity is a consequence of moving in a space-time that's been curved by the presence of masses.
Gravity is the consequence of moving in curved space-time. Right. So we have to imagine now the spandex universe, right? Where space, three-dimensional space is some sort of fabric. And when you put matter in there, it warps it. But she's still talking about moving in a curved space-time. You're still going to have a mechanism, a cause of the initial motion. You can't just say space-time, I put matter in it, and because matter's present, that induces motion. Total nonsense.
If there are no masses nearby to curve space-time, it's flat. So long as there's no force acting on it.
It's flat. How can I mean, what are you talking about? Three-dimensional space is flat. Eh? What do you mean?
An object in this flat space-time, the object will move in a straight line. If there are masses nearby, space-time will curve, and the object no longer moves in a straight line,
right,
even in the absence
we're getting to the spandex
of a force. The usual way to
say that again, hang on, there's a double speak.
An object in this flat space-time, the object will move in a straight line. If there are masses nearby, space-time will curve, and the object no longer moves in a straight line, even in the absence of a force.
Alright, so the object's moving, but we'll ignore why the object's moving, but it's still moving even in the absence of a force. I mean, again, what is going on here with these people? You need a force for motion. You don't have motion without a force.
The usual way to explain this is with a large...
Yes, with your granny's underpants, which you applied pressure to in order to stretch, to create the tension. Then you used motion to put the ball there, right? Which is bending that because it's an effect of the motion of the earth. Where there's a resistance there and you're seeing it with a mass causing that effect.
On a rubber sheet that deforms the rubber. This is an analogy for how, say, a planet curves space-time around it.
Right.
And another smaller marble which...
There. And then we had to have a force applied. That being somebody pushing something into this path. I'm still missing the point here.
To be attracted to the bigger one. It's a pretty good visualization. It's just that...
It's no, it's absolute nonsense, Sabine.
Ask why the...
Again, I get the concept. Don't get me wrong. I get the mental thought, the conceptual imagining that you're rabbiting on about here. But what relationship does this have to direct reality, physical reality? Again, this is just bias interpretation, starting from a presupposed model, a globe Earth, a heliocentric system, in a vacuum, and then trying to interpret reality to make it fit that preconceived bias, a presupposed bias.
Marble bends the rubber, then it gets really confusing. So in this curved space-time around a planet, if there's no force acting on you, you fall towards the planet.
Why? Again, here's a doublespeak. There's no force acting on you, but you fall. Instead of saying fall, say you move towards, because then people are clear that you're talking about acceleration, motion. So if there's no force present and there's no force there at all, that means there's no motion, but then all of a sudden you're just invoking that there's motion without a mechanism.
That's not an acceleration. But if something gets in your way, like the surface of the planet...
Oh, right, so here's the doublespeak again. So you're actually moving, but you're no moving. Until something resists you, then you're accelerating. I mean...
Then that creates a force. So now you're accelerating.
So that no, the planet would in this sense would be the resistance to your motion.
This is why there's no force pushing down on you right now. There's only a force pushing up. If you took away the surface of Earth, you'd fall. And if you fell...
See what I mean? Pay attention. If you took away the surface of the Earth, you would fall. Then she shows that by what? By her accelerating downwards. Although we've established that there's no downwards acceleration, Sabine. And again, you're going to need a force if you're going to keep stating acceleration, motion.
Away the surface of Earth, you'd fall. And if you fell, there'd be again a force acting on you.
See what I mean? Doublespeak galore. And if you fell, translated, and if you moved, because if you remove the Earth, you're going to move, there's no force acting on you. So you're moving with no force, but you're not moving in stuffs and let's go round and round in circles and double speak the brains right out of each other. So nothing makes any sense anymore. But I'm going to stand here and act all smug with my PhD, double speaking my gobbledygook.
This is also why the Earth would collapse if it had no internal pressure. It's not because there's a gravitational force...
Internal resistance. What do you mean pressure?
Acting on the matter. Because gravity isn't a force. It's because without internal pressure, stuff would just freely fall in the...
See? Freely fall. That means move.
Curvature that it itself creates. Without internal pressure...
See, they want you to believe that there's this imaginary thing called space-time, and if you just put matter in there, just inanimate matter, all of a sudden, magically, you've got motion.
Earth would form a tiny black hole about 3 millimeters in diameter.
Well, how did you get to this? Let me hear that again.
Without internal pressure, Earth would form a tiny black hole about 3 millimeters in diameter, and the real estate market would go to hell.
Why would it all go into the black hole, but it's not accelerating into the black hole? How do you know that if the Earth wasn't here, there would be a wee black hole 3 millimeters wide? I mean, what are you talking about, Sabine? What kind of fucking science is this? What are you talking about, woman? You're getting paid far too much money and it's made you drunk on your own fucking stupidity. Slap yourself. I'm going to have serious contempt for people like you, Sabine. You can take it personally all you fucking like. And don't act like you don't know what's going on because you're reacting to people like me. That's why you've made this stupid fucking video. You've either seen it yourself and it's off your own bat or you've been prompted to make the fucking video. You're a moron.
But let's go back to the accelerometers to see what else they can tell us. The easiest example of an accelerometer is a spring. Yes, a plain boring spring. Suppose you put a spring into outer space, empty space, flat space. How does it get there? I don't know, maybe Bob the astronaut lost it on a spacewalk?
Shut up.
Things happen?
Shut up.
There's a spring in outer space for whatever reason. It'll have some extension. Now, if you tie that spring to a rocket and that rocket blasts off,
Sabine, we don't need to get to hairy-fairy outer spaces and all these other concepts. We can show you that right here on Earth. Right? We can show you it.
Happen with the spring? It'll expand so long as the velocity of the rocket changes. Why is that? Well, as Newton taught us, force equals mass times acceleration.
That just means that the force, the conceptual gibberish known as force, is the interpretation of matter and motion. Right? Force is not a thing in itself. It's a description of motion.
So if you accelerate one end of the spring, that creates a force, and that force stretches the spring. You can measure how much it stretches, and from that you can calculate how much it was accelerated. Yeah, I know this isn't exactly rocket science, even if it is, but bear with me for a moment. This example tells us three very important things. First, you can use a spring to measure acceleration.
Yes, you can also use gas and liquid, Sabine. It's a very basic accelerometer. What do you think happens in freefall? Is there any signs of acceleration, Sabine? No, none. No downwards acceleration. Zilch, zero. Why are you still perpetuating this globe bollocks?
It's not the only way to do it, and maybe not even a particularly good one, but it works, and acceleration is measurable. Second, you cannot, of course, use the spring to measure the velocity of the...
See, acceleration is measurable, yes. It's very detectable, Sabine, very detectable.
The rocket, because velocity...
Do you know why, Sabine? That's because when force is applied to matter, right, it's no multi-pronged. So in the case of gas, liquids and solids, the force that you requires it to accelerate gas, liquids and solids uniformly. But we know fine well that that's not how reality functions, Sabine. That's what the root of an accelerometer is. That when you apply force to one thing, it displaces amongst other things. That's how we detect it.
In and of itself is a meaningless concept. You can only talk about relative velocities, not absolute ones. This is why Einstein's theories have the word relative in them. This brings us to the third and most important point that we learn from the spring. Acceleration is not relative, it's absolute. You can measure how much you're accelerated, for example with that spring, and you can tell when you're not accelerated. So we have a spring on...
So, again, like in Andrew's demo, when we've got a jar with a spring in it and a ping pong ball attached to that spring, and the ping pong ball stretches the spring so that it's at the surface of the water, we're detecting acceleration. But when we let it go in free fall, buoyancy, the acceleration upwards is no longer present and the spring goes back to its form. So we're detecting no acceleration, because if it was downwards acceleration, the ping pong and the ball the ping pong ball and the spring would invert. So if you've got a ping pong ball stretching a spring in a jar, and you actually accelerate that jar downwards, you're going to see the ping pong ball go towards the earth and the spring towards the sky, because buoyancy is inverted towards the direction of acceleration, Sabine.
The rocket in outer space. Alright, what's this got to do with gravity? Well, this is where Einstein's genius comes in.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Let's put the spring in a box from which you can't look out. You have no idea what's going on outside. We tie the box with you and the spring to a rocket. The rocket blasts off. What happens? Well, the spring expands again. Einstein now said that if you're in the box, you can't tell.
Well, that's when it's on the roof. Now, but see if it was on the ground, it would compress.
Whether you're being accelerated or whether you're sitting still on the surface of a planet. He then said if there isn't...
On the surface of a planet with a uniform gravitational field. More mathematical hogwash. What Sabine's shown and why Einstein had to account for it is showing real practical, real world physics. And then double speaking the shit out it in order to make it fit a fucking cartoon nonsense.
Any measurement that you can do to tell these situations apart, they're physically indistinguishable.
No, they are they're very distinguishable, Sabine, because one of them can be practically demonstrated in any vector. The other one, that being globe earths and vacuums with uniform fields and stuff, that's no demonstrable, Sabine. That's conceptual, based on a faulty interpretation of practical reality.
That is, in a small box, the effect of gravity on the surface of a planet is indistinguishable from acceleration in the absence of gravity. This is what's called the equivalent.
So she just told you there. She just equated gravity as motion.
Principle. The point where people usually go wrong is to conclude that because gravity is indistinguishable from acceleration, that means gravity accelerates you. But that isn't so. Because to accelerate something, you need a force. And gravity is not a force. Einstein's equivalence principle says that you are accelerated if you sit still in a gravitational field.
How? Stationary, still, fields. What are we talking about, Sabine? Have you got anything practical that I can relate to this with? That's right, you don't.
This is because the only way to sit still in a gravitational field is to have a force acting on you that prevents you from falling.
See again, staying still, and there's nothing, there's no force. It's the earth that's causing it, but if the earth's not there, you're going to move. How? How are you going to move? What's the mechanism?
For example, because that floor is pushing on you. But you can't tell this apart from being accelerated in the absence of gravity in a flat space-time.
Eh?
Imagine, for example, you're falling into a black hole.
How am I falling into a black hole? What's causing the motion? Why am I looking at cartoons, Sabine? Why am I having to use imagination, Sabine? Is this because this is a religion? Is that what it is? Okie dokie. Okay, for the purposes of religious exploration, we have to suspend our disbelief and imagine the gobbledygook nonsense that Sabine wishes the world was.
No, I don't mean YouTube recommendations, I mean a literal black hole. You're in a box with your spring and without any rocket boosters and so on. The black hole curves space-time, and you can use the equations of Einstein's general relativity to calculate what happens. They'll tell you that if you get too close to the event horizon, you'll inevitably cross it, and then you'll end up in the singularity.
So we're seeing motion happening here. What's causing all this motion when there's no forces and there's no motion and what other double speaking gibberish I forget now? I mean, what are we talking about here? This is what happens when we don't have things concise, when we don't stick to practical physics, real world physicality, how things actually function in the real world. When we skip by that and we jump into all this is where it ends up confusing. Because it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Which might not be there, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
The point for today
what's not there?
What happens. They'll tell you that if you get too close
they'll calculate
to the event horizon, you'll inevitably cross it, and then you'll end up in the singularity, which might not be there, but that's a different story.
You'll get mere doublespeak. You'll end up in the singularity, so telling you you're going to end up somewhere which might not be there. Hey, fuck me.
The point for today is that your spring won't budge because there's no force acting on you, because gravity is not a force.
Right, so we get that, alright, there's no force present, we don't see any signs of acceleration. That's right, Sabine. So in free fall, we don't see any signs of acceleration. So therefore there's no force present. End of story.
It's what physicists mean by free fall in a gravitational field. It means there's no force acting on you, so you're not accelerated. A zero G.
So there's no force acting on you, you're not accelerated, but there's still a motion of you towards the Earth, which means you are actually accelerating towards the Earth, but you're not accelerating because accelerating needs a force, and gravity's not a force. So where are we here, Sabine? What are you fucking talking about?
G-flight is the closest you get to that on Earth, at least if you want to survive.
Yes, that being that there's a floor pushing up on you, and when the floor's no longer present, you have no orientation. You're not accelerating anywhere.
The idea of a zero G flight is exactly Einstein's elevator experiment. But if you're in a box whose floor is not pushing on you, that's a plane, then you can't tell whether you're in outer space far away from any heavy objects where space-time is flat, or whether you're freely falling in a curved space-time. Physically, it's exactly the same. So the zero G flight is indeed a good simulation for outer space. And why is that? It's because gravity is not a...
Why are you saying outer space? When the motion of the Earth's not present, we can witness this in free fall, Sabine. Get yourself a little vessel with an air bubble and a dense material in it with some water and air. Accelerate it in any direction and observe what happens. The air bubble will move towards the direction of acceleration. Right? The only true motion.
In the plane, you're falling in a gravitational field, but there's no force acting.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So you're falling, which means you're moving, you're accelerating, but you're not accelerating because there's no force. So how did you and the Earth come to meet then, Sabine? Because something needs to be moving. And if something's moving, there must be a force. Einstein is a fucking gimpy Torah. Oh, he's amazing. He's got some imagination, that man. Yes, he can conceive of all sorts of fucking gibberish. Well, so the fuck can I. Does that mean I'm fucking great as well? Einstein is a fucking gimpy Torah who knew fine well how reality functioned, but him and his little fucking buddies required nonsense in order to get the gullible sheeples to believe in their conceptual fucking gibberish. So they invented true physics. Double speak the shite right out it. And then here we are generations later and you're repeating that fucking mental illness, Sabine. I suggest you fucking stop. Because this is not going to get away. People like me are not going to go away. The cat is out the fucking bag. You're just going to look more and more fucking ridiculous. Same for these stationary earthers. Where's your uniform acceleration of all matter? Where are you getting the grounds for that? What is it rooted in? Have you got anything practical to support your position? No, you fucking well don't. So stationary flat earthers and these fucking morons are one and the same. Ignoring reality in favour of presupposed bias. And then trying to bastardise real world physicality to make it fit the little bastardised fucking worldview.
On you. Now, I sometimes hear people say that zero G is a bad term because it suggests that there's no gravity, but of course,
that's right.
The curvature of space.
Well, because zero G is the right term. Right? Well, there is still some because the air's still pushing up on you. Caused by the Earth. Again, you can see that with an air bubble and helium accelerating upwards. It's being pushed upwards because of the motion of the Earth. So when you're in air with nothing solid to support you, you are in zero G. unless you could spread your body out enough, giving you a bigger surface area. Then you would feel the G of the motion, because the air would be pushing up on you and would support you a lot more than when you're in this form. So if we squished that guy out so that he had a bigger surface area, then he would feel G's. He would feel the air pushing up on him. But it's 0G until the solidity of the earth contacts him again, and then it's felt. His weight is there. There's a resistance, which we call weight.
Go away just because you sit in a plane. And that's right, but 0G doesn't mean zero gravity. The G is the local acceleration that you experience if you are at rest in the gravitational field.
Right, again, people need to comprehend this, that she's just talking about when you're at rest in the gravitational field. That's conceptual mathematics. Fields are only exist in the imaginations of morons and on paper. They don't exist in reality. Maybe they do, but so far we've had no demonstrations from any of these people.
Surface, that acceleration is roughly 9.8 meters per square second, as you probably all learned in kindergarten. Though, strictly speaking, this gravitational acceleration isn't constant.
No, it's not. Because I've got a consistent weight, there's a consistent resistance. It's not accelerating. It's a constant velocity. My weight is fucking constant.
The acceleration that you experience on the surface of Earth drops if you go to higher altitudes, and it also slightly depends on what the ground is made of. This is why...
That's because if I go up through the column of what we call air, there's less above me. So there's less compression downwards on me.
This acceleration tells you something about the composition of Earth's mantle, but I digress.
Aye.
By the way, this video comes with a quiz on quizwithit.com that lets you check how much you understood. To come back to...
Oh, do a quiz to see how much you understood. Can you decipher my gobbledygook? If you can comprehend my conceptual gibberish, well done, 4.5 gold stars. However, Sabine, it still has no fucking relationship to reality whatsoever. I could be proficient at Harry Potter quiz. Marty will testify to this. I can be, even Marty can be an expert at Harry Potter trivia. What does that mean? Just because Marty comprehends Harry Potter and the workings of Harry Potter and La La Land, does that somehow mean that he's now a physicist in reality because he comprehends Harry Potter? No, he fucking well does not. So if you can pass the Harry Potter challenge, you're as intellectually sound as Sabine Hossenfelder.
To 0G flights. On a 0G flight, your acceleration is indeed almost zero because you're not at rest with the surface of Earth.
Yes.
That's why it feels like free fall. Of course, it's not exactly zero because you always move around somewhat that way or this way, or if you're rowing because you're doing CPR.
So she's talking about gravity as motion.
But it's pretty close to zero. So I'd say 0G is a good description. Same thing on the ISS. Okay, but I can see you're still confused because you learned that acceleration is a change in velocity. And if you're not changing velocity, you're just standing on Earth. How can you be accelerated? Well, the entire point of Einstein's theory of relativity is that velocity is not absolute. What you mean if you say you're not changing velocity is that you're not moving relative to the surface of Earth. But this doesn't mean you have zero velocity, because that's a meaningless statement. It just means you're not moving relative to something else that accelerated the same way, which is the surface of Earth.
Mm-hmm.
You can, however, return to talking about Newtonian gravity by redefining what you mean by no acceleration. In general relativity, as we've just seen, you are accelerated if you don't move relative to the surface of Earth, say because you stand on top of a building. If you jump and fall, you're not accelerated because there's no force acting on you. If you hit the floor, you're very suddenly accelerated again, which...
So again, the double speak. He's on the surface and you quite clearly seen by the demonstration that it's that wee dude that went from there to fucking there. So what made him move? There's no force in your worldview.
Has, well, measurable consequences. In Newtonian gravity, you introduce this new force that you call the gravitational force and say, if you're on top of the building, that force of gravity cancels that from the building pushing on you. So now there's no net force acting on you, and Newton says you're not accelerated. If you jump off the building, Newton would say, the force from below disappears and there's only the gravitational force acting on you and you're accelerated. And
so it's the same fucking thing then. It's the same thing. Because in both scenarios you have the wee spaceman moving from a position in three-dimensional space, and it's him, the three-dimensional thing, that's moving through three-dimensional space towards your Earth. It's the same fucking thing, Sabine. Same problem. You can fanny about and fucking waffle till the cows come home about different theoretical conceptions about what they think's going on. It's the same. You're going to require something that made the wee spaceman accelerate towards the fucking Earth.
The ground, you suddenly return to zero acceleration. The Newtonian picture is the one we learn at school, and it's useful so long as you are on Earth. But strictly speaking, it's wrong, because you can't just redefine what you mean by zero acceleration. You can't do that because acceleration...
So this is what I spoke about before with the Newtonian and Einstein. Newtonian was about how things behaved here within Earth, right? Although he's wrong about the downwards acceleration. And Einstein's is about planetoids in a vacuum and how they function in relation to each other. So what are you talking about Einstein for in regards to how things function here on Earth? Within the reference frame, Sabine. Because the two of them are not the same thing. Newtonian dealt with here within the reference frame and how things function here. Einstein's is about conceptual planetoids and a conceptual space-time fabric and how they relate to each other and their motions. But they'll both still get the same fucking problem, Sabine.
It's not a relative quantity. If you're staying in place in a gravitational field so you aren't falling, then you are not at zero acceleration, as any accelerometer will tell you. Now, of course, physicists are no...
That's right, because the acceleration's upwards. The accelerometer reads that, and when it's not being resisted, the force of the Earth transferred through that, right? That being in free fall, not touching the solid surface of the Earth or anything attached to it, it registers no motion.
Linguistic saints, and they'll sometimes refer to gravity as a force, even though it isn't. A typical example...
Oh, this is the setup.
This is what happens under conditions of acceleration.
When they speak of the four fundamental forces of nature. If they're being careful, they refer to it as the gravitational interaction and the four fundamental interactions. But often they...
Are we going to see any demonstrations of any of this waffle, Sabine? Are you going to continue to come on here waffling your religious nonsense at people? Are you ever going to support any of this with anything practical? Anybody out there, any globe believer, anybody that thinks to comprehend this stuff, if you get something practical to support it, Rachel, you still in the chat, do you have any practicality to support this gibberish? Please bring it. Send me it just now.
I think they really just call it a force because that starts with an F. In a nutshell, why is gravity not a force? Because if you are only exposed to the gravitational interaction, you fall, and that is measurably not an acceleration.
Right, so there's no downwards acceleration then?
If you need to freshen up your knowledge of forces and Newton's laws...
I think you need to ditch the Harry Potter nonsense and come back to real world practical physics. Because people like me, right, real people, practical people, no hairy fairy fucking Narnia wishers, see right through this bollocks, Sabine. It's only the willfully ignorant and the gullible that's going to try and repeat this waffle. Because I can see it in your eyes, you don't even fucking comprehend it.
Taking on Einstein's ideas, the best place to start is brilliant.org. They have lovely courses on Newton.
Lovely courses on Narnia. Lovely courses on how to double speak and invoke fucking Harry Potter physics. We have accelerometers, gas, liquids, solids. You move the solid, you get displacement of the gas and liquid. The gas will always move towards the direction of acceleration, basic accelerometer. You drop the fucking thing, no signs of acceleration, but there's acceleration, but there's no acceleration, there's motion, but there's no motion. Make your fucking mind up. Seems to me like they realise they're now in a cul-de-sac backed into a fucking corner. And they're doubling down on their nonsense and just going round and round in fucking circles. There's motion, but there's no motion. There's acceleration without a force, and you're moving without a force. And there's... What are we talking about? Because it's very simple in my world. Accelerometer detects motion, acceleration. Bang! There you go. There's a demonstration of that. All the evidence for what she's saying. I hope it's practical, Rachel. I hope the only thing you're going to send me is the practical references that match the integers. The integers match the double speak, so that we can actually clearly see what Sabine's trying to convey through practical. Don't send me word salads, religious texts, because I'm not interested. It better be something practical. Don't waste my time. Rachel, is there downwards acceleration? Or any other global lever? Evidence. What do you mean? Interpretation. Is it going to be an interpretation? I look forward to it. I mean that. I actually look forward to it. One man needs a detector. Right, so there's no downwards acceleration. Okay, that. So there's no downwards acceleration, Rachel, and you're now a global lever. How is it all working? How does it all work? Well, this is the problem, RJC. You know, watch them spiral into nonsense. If the earth stops moving, upward, we will all float. It's moving upward, and else else to it. You know, that's it. If the Earth stopped its motion right now, then we really would be in a zero-G environment, because there would be no orientation to anything. Water wouldn't be level anymore, right? Air bubbles wouldn't rise, helium wouldn't rise, there'd be no up, down, there would be nothing. It would just be total and utter fucking chaos. Again, it's so simple for people to see this. If you start sitting with a glass, right, and you've got air rising and you get something sinking and you put it in free fall, the air stops rising and the thing stops sinking. And this is the problems that the globe and these stationary flat earthers are constantly going to bang their head off the wall with. And the two of them are the exact same. The two of them need uniform acceleration. Which, I mean, it seems so simple to me. You know, I keep asking the question. In order to request or even invoke uniform acceleration, you must be able to demonstrate uniform acceleration without using circular reasoning. How are you going to achieve that when you know fine well there is no forces known to man that any man can demonstrate uniform acceleration? And what I mean by uniform acceleration is gas, liquids and solids all accelerated with no displacement. Is there any globe earthers here that think that they can convey this with some practicality? Rachel seems to think that she's got something. Whatever's sent to me, I'm going to present it and I'm going to show it. But I mean, reality is simple, you know, and it gets so convoluted and complex, and you know there's lies when it gets convoluted and complex. You know, again, not everybody's telling lies. People think that they comprehend this stuff, and because some people comprehend, just as I said, there's people out there that comprehend, you know, the fifth dimension. There's people out there that think they comprehend Harry Potter world or Narnia, or, you know, how Santa Claus realm works, or how Star Wars functions. Or there's people that can comprehend concepts, imaginings, right? And because they can comprehend it, they think that means it's real. So you've got a mixture of people out there that are deliberately pushing this nonsense. You get people who just, because they comprehend it and they can convey it, that it somehow means it's real. I can describe, you know, how the wicked witch flies on a wee broomstick. Does that mean it's real? Does that mean witches are real and that they can fly on broomsticks? No, it fucking well does not. Globers won't start with demos now because they don't have any. They have zilch. Well, that's the difference beyond belief. You know, again, I tried to demonstrate these things, and it's not real. You know, uniform acceleration of gas, liquids and solids is not a real thing. It only exists on paper. Exactly, RJC. I mean, if that's no where we're all at here, there's no point in people being here if that's no where you're at, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm rooted in the practical, and any claim made by man must be in the realms of the practical. It's fine if people want to imagine non-practicality. You can imagine that all you like. That's how we have art, that's how we have movies, fantasy, entertainment. That's great for the purposes of entertainment. But the minute you start trying to push that as being objective, then we're going to have a real problem. Because as I say, as soon as we request the practical to support your meanderings, you're going to come unstuck. So you'll be waiting for an eternity to get an example out of me. Well, again, if people don't have any practicality, then I don't know what they're talking about. You're in the wrong place. There's some other fantasy places. There's loads of globe earthers, there's loads of stationary flat earthers out there if you want to go and, you know, invoke some fantasy. That's all great. You're in the wrong place here. Everything goes down when the earth is moving upwards. No, there is no downwards motion of anything. Nothing is going down. Nothing. It's a visual perception. Visually, relativity, relative to you as a visual observer, people think that goes down. Relative to them, went down. Physically, it did not move through three-dimensional space and accelerated downwards. That's not there. But again, this is the globe. The globe only has visual interpretations, nothing else. No, I know finishing. I'm not hammering on you. I'm just saying it because it was there and the opportunity to say it again. Because people really, you know, struggle with that they think that there's a downwards vector. There is no downwards vector. The vector's that way. Provably so. It's everywhere. That's why water's level. That's why when you hang a plumb line, it points fucking straight down. Because it's the reaction to the motion. That's why we have a compression. That's why we have pressure under the earth, because there's a compression of the earth's motion, and the resistance of matter to motion causes a compression. That's why we've got extreme heat, we've got lava, right? You can experience the pressure gradient by going up and down. You can witness an air bubble rising and something sinking or appearing to go down because it's just an appearance. The true motion's the air bubble. Or if you let a helium balloon go, you see it actually does accelerate upwards. But people can't wrap their mind around that because that's relative. That's what's relative to an observer. Visually, it went down. Visually, it went down. No physically. Physically, it's not going down. Because if it was accelerating down, we would witness displacement. The effects would be measured, but they're not. Cheers, Jack of all trades. I intend to be very active in the coming year. So difficult right now because it's incessant fucking barrage of rain. Never ending rain. that's the thing, Red Scotland. We're demonstrating our claims. You're not demonstrating yours. You know, what are you, a globe earther or a stationary flat earther? I mean, it's one and the same thing as far as I'm concerned. Have any other evidence for the theories other than the bottle rump thing? I mean, it's everywhere. You've got weight, you've got directionality, water's displaced. Air bubbles stop rising through mediums, things stop sinking through mediums in free fall. All that motion's only present when it's connected solidly to the earth. So your only two options are, right? And this is the only two options you've got. It's the earth that's in motion, right? Or there's some mystical thing out there that's accelerating stuff towards the earth and accelerating it uniformly. So gas, liquids and solids can be accelerated without any displacement, without the air bubble moving and all that stuff. The demonstrations are showing you that when it's no solidly connected to the earth anymore, the presence of motion is no longer felt through the bodies. Well, that's it, you know, level-headed and that way. This is now what they're resorting to. I don't claim anything. Alright, but you're a flat earther or a globe earther, but you're not claiming anything. You know, this is just their new way of avoiding. This is what happens with occult bias, with religious bias. They just try and evade and avoid at all costs anything that's detrimental to their view. And again, we're the reasonable people. I'm not just sitting here talking from nothing. This is all from practical. And we're inviting people to come and chat about that and offer their practicality. But what do we get? We get constant pointing the finger at us, saying it's the burden's on us, the burden's on us. Well, we've shown you it. The burden's on you. The people who are invoking non-entities, forces that are capable of this magic. The burden's solely on you because you're invoking a force, something that can cause uniform acceleration, and you have no grounds to ask for that. Absolutely none. Until you can demonstrate uniform acceleration of gas, liquids and solids, you've got nothing. So the burden's not on us here. The burden is firmly at the feet of the globe and the stationary flat earthers and anybody else who's a certain acceleration from one body to another body, right? Without forces or uniforms accelerations. That's your burden. The reason it's your burden is because practical reality shows you how forces operate, what happens to matter under conditions of acceleration. That's the real world. Now, if you're claiming something contrary to the real world, the burden's on you. That's just the way it is. You don't need to like it, but that's the facts. I know story now, exactly. Exactly. Well, I'll speak to you, Red Scotland. What is it that we need the practical for? What is it you're requesting? What practical demonstrations are you requesting? What are you requesting? So we'll have a shot each. You can ask me to show you the practical, and then I'm going to ask you to show the practical for your position. Do we know his position? Has it been established yet? Exactly, Eric Cartel. And again, it's, you know, and I know you're just saying this, but it's not even my position, it's just reality. I mean, Is there actually people that are trying to deny what I'm conveying here? Again, if you want to deny it, that's fine, but you need to demonstrate why you're denying it. He's just saying random shit. That's the usual we get, you know. A gish gallop of randomness. Mr. Sparkles, I'm going to ask you then, right? If I let a bottle go when there's a bubble rising in it and something sinking in it, and I let that go and that motion ceases, right? Is it your position that it all accelerated towards the Earth? Simple. Is that your position? That there's a uniform acceleration towards the Earth? If I had a vessel and a vehicle accelerating in any direction using displacement, right? Then I removed that from the vehicle and there was no displacement, but I told you it was still accelerating. Would you accept that? What did I miss, Imran? How are you doing? Exactly, Imran. Exactly. Yeah, they're not paying attention. This is the way they like to just throwing bottles about. They like to diminish it and demean it as much as they can because they can't deal with the content. So they have to use sort of ad homs, you know, sneaky, underhanded ad homs. Oh, throwing bottles of water about. There's a two-way flow of electricity upwards and downwards, right? What's that got to do with what we're talking about? We're talking about gases, liquids and solids and claims of uniform acceleration downwards of gas, liquids and solids. We're not talking about electricity, right? We're talking about matter, gas, liquids and solids, uniformly accelerated towards the Earth. I would just ignore Red Scotland because he's just basic trolling. Wasting your breath. Yes, Rachie, exactly. So this is what baffles me about people like you, Rachie. How can you still be, you know, maintaining that it's a globe? Magnets will be next, exactly, fat plane, because they don't comprehend magnets. I seen that one, man. He's detected for being those who doesn't believe in free will. So Sabine's in the dangerous grounds that there's no free will, which means there's no accountability, which means that we shouldn't have any moral judgment on anything. There shouldn't be morals or anything because serial killers, rapists, murderers, you know, dictators, fascists, all the nasty stuff. There's no accountability on any of that their parts because there's no free will. All their actions and behaviours are predetermined by an evolutionary process. There is no conscious entity. Right? There is no logician in there, but they want to try and speak to us with logic and rationale and reason and morality and all this stuff. I mean, these people are so mentally retarded it is fucking beyond belief. It exceeds the realms of Harry Potter and Narnia. Sabine would be the first one to demand justice if somebody wronged her. Well, she sits on tinterwebs with a little philosophical, sycophantic arse-licking of atheistic fucking materialistic philosophy. Yeah, there's no free will. But then she'd phone the police because somebody robbed her and she wants justice. Well, I'm sorry, Sabine, but you must just accept robbery. There is no free agent. There is no conscious entity making any decisions. It's just all randomness. Why are we having accountability? Why do we have law? Why do we have a common sensibility of common law? You don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you. If you fuck with me, there's going to be consequence. This is the hypocrisy of these philosophical midgets. It's no such thing as free will. Well, it sits there demanding that you pay attention to your rationale and logic. Bizarre. Totally bizarre. I feel as if I'm in a fucking Twilight Zone. Yes, we can prove displacement in the upward vector. It's a third of lotta. Because if I'm holding a vessel where the surface is flat, right, I've got an air bubble rising and some sinking and I push on it, accelerating it more, the rate of the bubble rising and the thing sinking increases. The displacement of the water surface stays the same. Maybe you missed that bit months ago. Mr. Sparrow, why do your argument shows? It's just that I'm not arguing with anybody here. I'm a ripping the pish out of nonsense. Same as if you were sat right in front of me, talking utter shite, I would rip the pish right out of you, in front of you. I know. Black holes in space, so the black holes must connect to some other universe. This is a wormhole. What is it? A wormhole is a leap within the same realm or something, and a, what's the other one? A vortex or a black hole is from one realm to some other dimension. Ooh. I see, imagination. Yes, Red Scotland, that's because if the things were accelerating downwards, we would see displacement. We would witness acceleration downwards, but there is no displacement downwards. Therefore, no downwards acceleration. If I actually accelerate something downwards, we see that happen. We see air moving that way and liquids that way. And if I go that way, the air goes that way and the liquid's there. It's very, very simple. So that's what a basic accelerometer is. So anybody claiming there's acceleration somewhere, it should be detected physically. But it's not present. I need to go for a piss. Back in a minute. listen here. Right. Nah, no such thing as shape of earth. That's just the way people talk about it. It's blood always finds its level. You know, it's the orientation. You know, level as a result. You know, what are shown as the displacement, the vector. You know, as I say, people have said it for years. Oh, water's level? Water finds its level. You know, that stuff on free thought doesn't have that. It doesn't have that surface. You know, there's a cause to that. And to say that it doesn't have a shape, so, you know, at the outer edges or the outer limits of physicality, does it start to, you know, transition into some metaphysicalness or something, so there's no really a distinguished, you know, barrier of solidity and metaphysical? So I don't, you know, when people say this, the earth doesn't have a shape, well, I can't get my head around that, because that would, as I say, you would then have to be saying that earth, the physical starts to transition into something metaphysical, so there's no distinguishing point of physicality and non-physicality. So I don't know what that means. That doesn't make any sense to me. They're still going on about this torus field thing. I mean, I spoke to these people and they're still hammering on with this nonsense. Torus fields and electricity and stuff. That's like their ego's just taken over and they can't just admit that they're fucking wrong. Magnetism and electricity don't provide uniform accelerations either. These people are wrong. Factually wrong, demonstrably wrong, but yet they keep saying it. They keep trying to push it. I mean, why? Why? These things are no responsible for the vector, the displacement, the pressure gradient, buoyancy and density, uniform acceleration, but they keep spouting it. Ah, exactly, Richie. Biases do that to people, exactly. That's the fucking problem. No, that's it, finishing fin. Exactly, you know, the static thing, and they just admit that these are effects of motion, you know, and that's all reality is. Reality is motion, you know. It's that fucking simple. And the basis of science, or not even using the word science, the basis of observation and having a comprehension is because things change. Change means motion. In order for something to change, there must be motion present. Something has to actually move in its form or its whatever. That's what we observe. That's how we know we're having an experience, because we're in motion right now. You know, and that's the fundamental basics of you know, learning about reality. You learn about reality because things change, things move in relation to each other. You know, there's heat transfer and thermodynamics and blah, blah, all that's observed is change. Change is motion. Very, very simple. Well, you better go away and listen to Nikola Tesla then. I've never heard Nikola Tesla speak, so I don't know where you're listening. Any questions? Does anybody want to speak? I've got the email open right now if anybody wants to come and have a chat. Any of these people, you can come and speak to me right now. Earth is only a little part of the realm. It's not a system, it's part of it. That's what I'm saying. So what do you mean by Earth? Solid? Gas, liquids, what are you talking about? And what does it transition into? If it doesn't have anything defining about it, or are you saying it's just part of like an infinite expanse or something? So infinity is just lateral? Or is it infinite up and down in every direction? But it's no moving, I mean, fuck knows. See, you know, if I want to talk about things in a postulating possibilities, right? It's either that infinity, eternity is moving through us, or we're moving through it. So it's akin to, you know, does a boat move through the ocean, or does the ocean move through the boat? What do you think's more feasible? That the ocean passes through the boat, or the boat is moving through the ocean? And I'm using that as an analogy for the Earth system, whatever you want to call it, in regards to the infinite, the eternal, right? Whatever gives rise to this, you know, and sustains it. Is it this that's moving through it, or is it moving through us? So the analogy is does the boat move through the ocean, or does the ocean move through the boat? Exactly, James CT. It's as fucking simple as that. Glad you're there. Hope you're well, man. See, I'm seeing a reaction for the mainstream now in regards to this motion of Earth, but I'm not seeing a reaction to claims that it's electrostatics and fucking toroidal fields and all that. You know why? Because that's nonsense. Aye, we're all good, James. Same to yourself. Des, hello mate. See you soon. Nice one, Marty. It's always the same. How many of these characters have we seen over the years? They come here trying to espouse their superiority and their fucking intellectual prowess and their knowledge and all this stuff, and we never hear for any of them. They never come and speak direct. I still don't have any emails for anybody. Possibly James Cooper. Yazoo or something they were called. I don't know. Yaz or Yazoo, I don't know if that's right. Yazoo, it sounds like some internet fucking site, I don't know. Scheme costs, exactly. There's a lot of gatekeeping going on. Yaz Des, nice one. As I say, gatekeeping happens in different forms. You know, there's propagandists out there that are, you know, know fine well that they're pushing propaganda and that they're gatekeeping. And then there's just people who are a bit intellectually dim, that can't see past their own bias, right? And people look at them and call them shills and this, that and the other, and I don't see it like that at all. I know that I'm saying that there isn't, you know, people who deliberately, you know, push propaganda and bullshit, and there's a way to tell, but there's many people who just, as I say, there's people that comprehend gobbledygook, and they think because they comprehend gobbledygook that they're a superiority on it, and it somehow is objectively true. As I used the example before, there's experts in Harry Potter. Because they're an intellectual heavyweight in the realms of Harry Potter, what bearing does that have on what reality is and how it functions? It doesn't have any bearing. So you get a lot of people invested in these biases for various different reasons, from their own ego through monetary, you know, profit, you know, or gain, or any of that stuff. So there's loads of incentives there. Not everybody is a shill actively working on knowing what they're doing and knowing full well that they're telling lies. That's not how it's working. Linear infraround to detect the motion of the earth upward. What do you mean? What do you mean? So why don't you come in and speak to me then? What's it? Because I'm not like you. I'm not going to run away, son. So the opportunity is here for you to come in and speak to me direct right now, instead of making off the cuff comments to people who don't represent me or that are know me, but you're quite willing to engage that in your chat boxes. So come and speak to me right now, and you can demonstrate it for us. Demonstrate uniform acceleration. Have you demonstrated uniform acceleration of gas, liquids and solids yet? What's it? You can make me funny faces in the chat all you like, sir. Have you demonstrated it yet? Have you demonstrated how something stationary has a vector? Have you demonstrated electrostatics or electromagnetism uniformly accelerating gas, liquids and solids without displacement? Have you done any of that yet? That's a straw man. So what's it gets that thinks it's a straw man? What's it gets that claims the Earth's a stationary plane and that things accelerate towards the Earth? But he's claiming I'm saying it's a straw man. Not only that, he must claim that gas, liquids and solids accelerate uniformly. Again, this is the problem with people at what's it. They don't comprehend the default position that they hold. If you state the Earth stationary, you need a force, some cause that accelerates things uniformly without displacement towards the Earth. It's not my fault if you don't comprehend that, so you can call it a straw man all you like. You're not running about with fucking morons now, what's it? Right? That's not what's going to happen here, son. Your default position is a stationary Earth, uniform downwards acceleration. Why do you believe that? Alright, so it's not accelerating uniformly then. So the gas, liquids and the solids are accelerating downwards at different rates. Is that your claim? Accelerometers, physicality demonstrates beyond any shadow of doubt the Earth is in motion. Why don't you just come in and you can present and we can have a discussion about it? You've taken the time to come here, so why not go the extra step? Come in, you can have the floor, you can share your screen and you can demonstrate your claims, and then we can get through them. So when I let the bottle go and there's an air bubble rising, so it's on its way upwards, and there's something sinking, and I let the whole thing go, and the whole thing stops its motion, and the whole thing must accelerate towards the Earth. You're now claiming that they're all accelerating at different rates, but how is that so when we can witness that that's not what's happening? What are you talking about? Aye, we can set something up, that'd be great. Let me know whenever you're ready. But this is the shifting of the goalposts as far as I can see now. Now they're no claiming that it's all accelerating uniformly. Although, in the scenarios that we've seen, that would have to be the case. So I'm going to ask you again, what's it? When I've got a bottle with gas and liquid in it and an air bubble rising and something sinking and I let the whole thing go and that motion vector, the pressure, the buoyancy and density gradient all vanish, what's happening? Is your position it's not all accelerating downwards because we don't see a displacement of anything within it, which if they were all accelerating downwards differently we would see a displacement. But we don't. So, I mean, do you not comprehend the physical? I mean, I don't get your position here. I really don't get your position. Right, Whitsit's no scared everybody. He's a big, strong, intellectual guy. Right, stop saying he's scared. I'm tough. I'm an intellectual heavyweight. How dare ye suggest I am scared? Well, I'll go and flex somewhere else. No interested in your fucking low-grade fucking intellectual gibberish about how big and strong and intellectually savvy you are. You're wrong, what's it? And I dare you to come and chat and show the demonstrations because I tell you what, son, I'm going to fucking wipe the floor with the utter shite that you've been spewing. You can take it personally all you like. It's about your content. I don't know you personally. Right? But that content that you're offering is bollocks. It's not responsible for the gradient, it's not responsible for the directionality, it's not responsible for uniform acceleration, it's not responsible for any of that stuff. Whitsett thinks that, right, I've got a bottle and there's an air bubble rising and something sinking, and when I let it go there's some magic electricity and stuffs that stops the air bubble rising, stops the thing from sinking, and it all just magically, well, apparently now it's not all accelerating at the same rate, although that's what would have to be happening because that's what the observations are showing. How else are you going to interpret that? I would love to know. Well, it's simple. Dude, it's simple. Objects have been measured with interferometry and they fall at different rates at different times. You won't even address it, you keep avoiding it. When have I avoided it? When have I avoided that? Can anybody point to when I've avoided what's it's just spewed? Just because you don't pay attention to what's it doesn't mean I've not spoken about it or addressed it, son. It's pointless, Richie, because he's just going to shift the goalposts and now he's claiming that it's not all accelerating uniformly, although the gas and the liquid and the solids are no moving in relation to each other. But he's claiming they're all accelerating at different rates now. Work that out. Was that what he's talking about? Aye, well, as I said before, and I tried to convey to these people, if we want to talk about static and magnetism having a role in how it's affecting matter, that's fine. But to state that electrostatics and magnetism responsible for the vector, the orientation, buoyancy and density, that's wrong. But the rate of deceleration of objects can be affected by various different components and different factors, different varying factors, which we can have a discussion about. But maybe what's it doesn't comprehend that we're talking about the reality, the orientation, the vector, buoyancy and density, pressure gradient, and how motion shows that these things, and how I can invert it in any direction I want using motion. But what's it in that lot canny? They can't demonstrate any of that stuff. My guy. What's it? Your Americanisms are fucking wasted here, son. Totally wasted. You've built up confidence by dealing with fucking morons, son. Weak individuals. None of that stuff's going to work or have any effect on me whatsoever. Right? You better study a bit better because you're dealing with somebody that doesn't give a fuck about any of that. There's no requests to join for any of them. And that's a bit beyond belief that they're missing. They keep saying Dell's position, Dell's theory, Dell's just fucking pointing at reality and going, look, there's reality. But that's a position that somebody owns. This is because they want to own stuff. They want to work in a hierarchy and think that they're intellectual superiors and that they've got a congregation that they preach to, and that's a projection of them. So when they say Dell's theory, it's no Dell's theory. Dell's just pointing at reality and going, this is reality, this is what happens in reality. You're claiming something contrary to what reality is, so you've got a problem. And their way out of that is to say it's my position and my theory, you know, this stuff. Motion requires a force. That's not a theory. Merry Christmas to yourself, SA. Well, they think they can, Imran. They think they can. I've seen an endless line of them. See, if you go to the little video I had of the box, right, where you can see two rulers in the box, and you don't know what one's moving, it would be the same with the interferometry thing. If you're within that box, right, you're just going to say, the ruler's moving. It would be the same scenario again. It's not detecting whether it's the thing that's moving or the earth that's moving. It doesn't matter. Exactly, you need awareness. That is objective reality, what's it? No, it doesn't need to be moving in different ways. You can keep putting lol at the end as part of your incredulity. thinking because you put lol at the end, that's your sleight of hand ridicule. Again, what's it? You're no the brightest, son. You've not got any street smarts at all. You're pissing in the wind here with that shite. I suggest you stop it. And smarten yourself up a wee bit, because you're going to be challenged now, son, like you've never been before. None of the wee quips are going to have any impact whatsoever. Lol. If I put lol at the end, that somehow lends weight to my position. Your mimicry on the street activism was fucking hilarious though. I'll give you that. What a fucking shit show that was, son. If we want to lol at stuffs, I can lol all day at you, wee man. You're a midget. A total midget. That's up there. See that? abko77@gmail. It's very simple. You can send an email anytime you like. QNF, and that's the point that they're missing. You know, again, I suggest that they go and look at the video on my channel right now of the two rulers in a box. And if you're in there with your interferometry, right, you have no way to tell whether it's the box moving or the ruler. It's just your interpretation to fit your bias. This is what I'm saying, what's it? You better be very careful, son. Right? You've gained false confidence by dealing with fucking lightweights. Well, see, at the end of the day, Rachie, see if people can't see past the entertainment part, right? That's not my problem. Because anybody can meet me in reality. People can witness me in reality, speaking to people randomly, right? And there's civil discourse there, right? But see, when it's online, right, there's an entertainment aspect attached to it. I'm not just going to let that go because people can't handle it. If Witsit comes in here and he's mannered and he's respectful, he's going to get the very same in return. But in regards to the content and the gibberish that they're spouting, I'm going to be using entertainment to ridicule it. This guy's about to get destroyed. Remember, you asked for it. Whatever, what's it, son? If you're going to sit in your wee echo chamber repeating the same mantras over and over again, carry on. Until you come in here like a man and have the dialogue with me and offer up your practical references, I'm not interested in you, sir. So sort it out what your actual position is, what your actual claims are in regards to stationary earth and falling objects and all that stuff, and then come and convey it to me and we'll have a discussion about it. We'll see if your practical references add up to your position. And then I'll do the same. I'll show you my conclusions based on the practical that I can produce over and over and over again. In any vector you like, I can invert the gradient in any vector you want. You can't do any of that. You cannot do diddly squat. All you have is a visual interpretation that you're interpreting to fit your bias, and then standing there all proud like you've achieved something. I know your position. It's the same as the globe. It's a visual interpretation. It's no physics. There you go, what's it? I've sent you a link. I know, I've just heard that he's emailed me. Brian, you said you were going to produce practical demonstrations. Did you achieve them? Did you achieve the practical demonstrations that you said you were going to set out to do? Well, hopefully he's got some practical. We'll find out. I'm always nice. I'm always nice until people start their underhanded tactics. If we don't get any of that, it's going to be cordial, it'll be nice. I'm a nice guy. Well, he sent me an email, Eric, and I've sent him a link. Imagine everybody's got Gmail. Hello?
What's up, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
I don't know.
Floor's yours, what's it?
Okay, yeah. So, I don't even understand this claim, but so I pointed out that if you drop an object on the earth, okay, you're claiming that the object's effectively just sitting there
Nope.
on the earth.
Nope. Nope.
Go ahead.
That's not what I'm claiming. What's it?
Is
Carry
the
on.
object falling or not?
No. There's no downwards acceleration is my claim.
Is the object falling?
What, falling, like physically moving downwards through space?
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, so it's just sitting there.
Nope.
Then what's it doing?
Losing momentum.
It's losing momentum.
It's losing, yes, what's it? And I told you and I warned you, what's it? If you're going to start that underhanded shite, I'm going to chin you straight on with it, son. So it's only up to you whether this is cordial or no. So I suggest you quit with the fucking nonsense. Alright? So if you want to understand my position, so here's...
You're about to get destroyed.
Okay, what's it? I'm about to get destroyed, although you've come in here with absolutely no comprehension of the position whatsoever. But I'm going to get destroyed. So the position here is that everything within the earth is in motion with the earth. So when I release an object, from that moment I release the object, it loses the momentum it had.
Okay, so here's the question. When I use interferometry and I measure an object falling to the ground at a single location, the rate that is measured with lasers changes at the same location throughout the day. Okay? So then you need to explain to me, how is the object falling at different rates at the same location if it's actually the Earth moving up?
Okay. So before we even get to any of that, right, I'm going to screen share here. No. What's it? I'm addressing it, right? What I'm going to show people is your interferometry, right? Can you see the screen? What's it?
I cannot see a screen, no.
Right, well, for the people watching, look, here's this video, right? So what we have in front of you is a reference frame, a box. In the reference frame we have two rulers within the box. Now, using interferometry, you would only conclude that it's the ruler that's moving. However, in any given situation or scenario here, I'm moving both one and the other simultaneously. So in one scenario I'm moving just the ruler. In the other scenario, I'm moving the box, and in the other scenario, I am moving both. How are you going to establish physically what's actually moving?
Okay, you completely avoided the point.
No. No. I'm still going to get to that point. Right?
You're trying to pretend you need to teach me the principle of relative motion.
So
okay, well, I'm not 5. I understand that concept.
So my method of understanding something accelerating is or being in motion would be the displacement and accelerometer. So if something is falling downwards, that being a bottle with gas liquids in it, right, and I see no displacement of the gas in the liquids, why am I not seeing the gas in the liquids displacing if it's accelerating?
Oh, see, I knew you would do this, right? You're going to try to pull your script out instead of answering my question because it completely destroys your entire position.
Right, so things fall at different rates at the same place. So if I've got a marble, the same marble, and at different times of the day I drop it and apparently it falls at different rates, I need to see that first and foremost. But however, there could be all sorts of factors to account for that: electrostatics, magnetism, air resistance, air density, pressure, moisture. There's loads of variables that I could have to go through before I establish that.
Okay, so that would be displacement then, right?
What do you mean?
Well, if there's a change in the measured rate, then there would have to be some form of displacement.
No, the displacement...
There's a uniform motion up.
The displacement's in regards to different matter, so gas, liquids and solids. So in my example, when I drop the bottle with gas, liquid and solid, not only that, an air bubble rising and something sinking within it, all that motion ceases and there is no displacement of the gas in the liquid. So why is that happening?
Okay, the fact that there's a buoyant relationship with the medium is completely non sequitur. You're saying, you just invoked electrostatics and stuff, which is funny, right? So you're saying that there are external variables that will change the rate at which we can measure objects falling. But you know that there's actually no acceleration, even though we're measuring a change in it.
There's no downwards acceleration. There's no downwards acceleration.
You realize this is just an unfalsifiable claim?
What? No, it's not.
Right?
What's it? If I accelerate a bottle downwards, physically accelerate it downwards, I see displacement. I witness displacement and I see an inversion of buoyancy and density. That's what happens under conditions of acceleration with gas, liquids and solids. Now, you're avoiding it. When I let the bottle go, I see no displacement, no gas and liquid displacing, buoyancy and density not inverting, ceasing to be. Why? What's it?
I just explained to you there is a buoyant relationship, and that would be stronger than the weak.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? There's a buoyant relationship. A buoyant relationship between what's it? Because in the bottle, in the bottle, the relative density disequilibrium has been claimed. Relative density disequilibrium would the motion of buoyancy and density would be present regardless of whether it was in free fall. If it's only related to materials within a medium, I should still see the air bubble rise and the medium and the thing sink. But you're still no answering the question, what's it? If I physically accelerate the bottle downwards, I see displacement of gas and liquids. Now, you're claiming there's downwards acceleration, but there is no displacement of the gas and liquids. Why?
Okay, see if you don't interrupt me this time. So, there's a buoyant relationship with, say, the bubble and the liquid, right? And that buoyancy is going to be stronger than the downward electric bias. So therefore you're not going to see the displacement from the downward electric bias because the buoyant relationship is much stronger. What's so funny though is you keep avoiding the point. Interferometry objectively refutes this claim. So
you saying?
Listen, dude.
No. Don't skip over your claims. Don't skip over your claims. What's it? Don't skip over your. Are you telling me that you can affect buoyancy with electrostatics?
Of course you can.
So you can invert it then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's the demonstrations? Tell me where I can go and see that right now.
Okay, go watch the Last Level documentary.
And what's describe the physical demonstration that you're talking about in there?
I use two Gaussian plates. I flip the polarity of the field, and then I can cause the object to go up.
Listen, what's that?
In the medium.
What's that?
But hey,
what's that?
Buddy.
You're still avoiding.
Dude.
What's that? What's that? Using individual pieces of matter and making them change their positions. Know what I'm asking you? What's it? Right? When I let the bottle go and there's a claim of downwards acceleration, why am I not witnessing the displacement of the gas and the liquids?
Okay. This is, if you keep interrupting me, I'm not going to stay on the call, right?
If you keep avoiding and keep skirting over it and making idiotic claims, I'm going to keep interrupting you until you provide a demonstration and an articulated answer to the question I'm putting to you.
I already answered your question. This is the reality. We have something called linear interferometry. It measures linear motion. If you're claiming that the Earth is moving up, it would be measurable with linear interferometry. Okay, you're making a claim that it looks like the Earth is stationary, but it's actually not. Just like a glober, the claim can be dismissed.
See the same thing that you're saying, right? It can just be reversed on you, son. Again, what's the name of this thing, this movie that you had? Give me the title right now.
It's called Level. And someone, I just said,
Level.
You can change the directionality of a density tower using electrostatics.
Can you?
Flip the polarity of the field.
I'm going to see.
Flip the polarity of the field.
Let's just get the video.
Made the object go up.
Let's just get the video till we witness this density gradient, the density tower being inverted. Where is it level and where's the channel? What's the channel on?
I don't know what it's called on YouTube. I think it's called Level with Me, right? Is the movie?
And whose channel would it be on?
It would be on Sean Hempler's channel.
Sean Hempler.
You didn't even watch the Level movie? Okay, dude, this is what I don't understand, Doro, is why you're avoiding the point. So what we found out is the object will fall at different rates, and you had to invoke electrostatics to explain it. Okay, and then you're claiming that the Earth is moving, but you have no evidence of it other than to appeal to incredulity. And I'm saying, what about linear interferometry? Why would linear interferometry not measure it?
See your gish gallop. Hold on a minute. We're trying to get this video just now.
So
we can. Well, we're talking about one point, and you're on about other points. So that's gish gallop, son. So where's this video? What's it called? Level what?
Level with Me. It's right there.
Well, I'm seeing Maui and 15, Old World Order. Episode 25 with David Ewing, Kirsten
Megan. A little bit. There's a movie called Level with Me.
Level with Me. Okay, and where do you know whereabouts it is?
Go down.
Right, I've got the movie. I'm going to screen share just now. Hang on. I'm already screen sharing.
I'm actually watching you on YouTube, so.
Am I screen sharing just now? Aye. Right. So whereabouts is this demonstration?
I don't know where it is in the movie, dude. It does, find it. This is what's funny. Are you denying that I can take a Van de Graaff generator and make something go up?
No.
Okay, so then do you understand that even though the object's more dense than the air, I can actually make the object go up?
That's fine. Nobody's disputing any of that stuff. What's that? I don't know what you're talking about, son.
Well, you asked me how can I account, or how can I basically flip the directionality based on a density tower? It would be the same thing. If you introduce enough electrostatics to flip the polarity of the field, then you could flip the direction.
So you've no actually inverted buoyancy and density. So you've no actually got a bottle with water, gas, and an air bubble in it, and you're actually flipping the whole orientation and showing us the air bubble now going down the way and the dense material going up the way within the water, or even accelerating it all without displacement. I mean, that's what I'm looking for here. So now you're saying.
I have stuff to do. I know that you just sit here and scream at the computer, but I have stuff to do. So this is what we're gonna do.
No worries, what's it?
Claiming. Listen carefully.
No, you listen, fucko. You listen, you fucking intellectual midget. You just made a fucking claim. Now you're running away. What's running away because he knows fine well that there's nothing in this video that accounts for his fucking claims. You're unbearable. You're a fucking liar. You're a liar, son. A liar. Liar.
Strawman my position.
Liar.
That I invoked uniform acceleration. I've never ever done
that. Right. Well, let's clarify it. When I let the bottle go and the gas and the liquid do not displace.
You have like a cult. These people are like a bunch of little cult members, right? They're acting like you're destroying.
What's that?
Right now.
What's that? So if I let the bottle go, if I let the bottle go and the bottle, the gas and the liquid don't displace, they must all be moving towards the earth at the same rate. Correct?
Say again?
So when I let a water bottle, if I accelerate a water bottle down the way, the air goes to the bottom and the liquid to the top. But if I let it go, that doesn't happen, right? Are you still claiming that it's all accelerating towards a stationary Earth?
Yeah.
You're claiming uniform downwards acceleration then?
No, it's not uniform.
Well, why is the water and the gas not displacing?
It measurably fluctuates, bro.
So why does the gas, the liquid and the solid not fluctuate between themselves then in free fall?
There's a buoyant relation.
There's a buoyant relation. Why are they not displacing? What's it? Yeah, if you're not claiming uniform downwards acceleration, then we would see displacement amongst them.
Okay, we have a buoyant relationship between the different liquids, the mediums, right? And that buoyant relationship is much stronger than the provable, measurable downward electric current on the Earth. So what I'm invoking is actual facts, which is that I can measure there's a downward electric current on the Earth. I can measure objects fall at different rates at the same location.
That's great.
You're having to invoke my position. Right
No,
here,
no.
say electrostatics will change
No,
how
no, no,
fast something
no, no, no.
falls.
That's no, no, I'm not using that as anything to do with the vector or buoyancy and density or the pressure gradient. Don't straw man me. Again, what's it? In the vessel, the gas and the liquid in the same vessel contained, right? And I let that go, I see no downwards acceleration, there's no displacement. So it must be accelerating towards the stationary Earth uniformly. Correct?
No.
Wow. So it's no moving uniformly. So if they're no moving uniformly, I would see displacement.
Okay. If there wasn't a stronger force present,
What's the stronger
called
force?
buoyancy. I've said that 7 times.
Buoyancy. Buoyancy's not a force. Buoyancy's not a force. What's it?
Oh, really? What is it?
It's an effect.
Oh, it's an effect of what?
Motion.
And it doesn't result in... No, it's not an effect of motion.
Of course it is. Listen, what's it? If I accelerate a bottle with a gas in it, right, and a liquid in it, an accelerometer, the gas moves towards the direction of acceleration.
Hey, buddy, you just said buoyancy is not a force.
It's not a force.
Enlighten all of us. What causes buoyancy?
Motion.
Motion? So anywhere there's motion, there's buoyancy.
Listen carefully. What's it? I know it's hard for you to comprehend real physics, son. Right? When I accelerate gas and liquid, the gas moves towards the direction of acceleration. So I can invert what you call buoyancy. Right? I can create buoyancy in any vector you decide. So if you tell me I want it at 45-degree angle going in that direction, I can create buoyancy in that direction. So buoyancy's buoyancy's not something that's itself. It's an effect of motion. That's what a density gradient is.
No, it's not. It's an effect of pressure mediation, bruh. You don't even know what you're talking about.
Pressure mediation. Pressure only happens because of motion. Also, what's it? Again, in free fall, pressure. Listen, pressure, buoyancy and density, motion vector, density gradients, orientation, all vanish in free fall. What's it?
Hey, here's the deal, man. The buoyant, if you want to call it an effect, whatever, it is, of course, an effect of pressure mediation. It results in a force if it's defined as...
It's a result of a force. It's the result of a force. Listen, do you know what a force is? What's a force? What's it?
Well, according to mainstream physics, it's MA, right? But you would have to get into what is M.
No, what's its claim of what a force is?
You are in a position to actually learn because you've gone
you need to learn.
over the top.
You need to learn, son. What's it? What's a force? What's it? What's it can never answer a straight question. What's a force? What's it?
Did I not just answer it?
No. What is a force? You went on about... Listen, you mumbled on about mainstream stuff. I'm not interested in mainstream stuff. What does Whatsit claim a force is?
Hey, what did I say the first time?
What's a force? What's it?
Oh, so you keep interrupting and then claiming I'm not answering.
What is a force? What is a force?
Okay, again, is what they say is mass times acceleration. I don't believe in quote-unquote mass. That's actually volume times density. So volume times density times acceleration is what we call a force. Now, actually, to define energy and force and field...
Energy.
Gets kind of tricky.
Energy.
Kind of tricky.
What's energy? Whoa. No, wait a minute. Force. Well, I'm going to... Listen. You just want to skirt over and make all these fucking... these wee statements about energies. What's energy?
Do people here actually enjoy the way you're at? You're
Listen,
a baller. So
I'll tell you, force is motion, right? And energy is motion.
I'm keeping notes of all these names.
That's good.
These are people that I don't want to
Aye, because what's it's a moron? What's it doesn't comprehend that force is just something that's in motion? A force is something in motion that presses on something else. That's what a force is. Right? Simple.
Hey buddy, you want to calm down?
No,
So
I'm calm. I'm totally calm. What's it?
You're totally calm.
Aye.
You're screaming and interrupting.
No. I'm just a passionate guy and I don't tolerate nonsense. What's it? For one, you don't even know what a force is. You can't even define it. I'll define it for you. It's motion. Energy is motion. Energy and force are not things intrinsic of themselves.
God.
Energy and forces are concepts to describe motion. There you go. Simple.
Okay, motion is a very encompassing term. Okay, so if we want to go down to like 5-year-old levels and say everything is motion, that's a cool story. What we're going to do is destroy your claim and you're going to keep avoiding it.
All
we
right.
have linear interferometry. It measures very precise motion, okay? Precisely measures motion. It's called linear interferometry, which was denied to even exist for years because it destroys the globe. It exists. It's provable. If the Earth is moving upward, you would be able to detect it with linear interferometry.
How? Explain.
Okay, so you take lasers, right? You have light that's in the same phase. You split it, making sure it's in the same phase. If there is motion, then it's going to cause a displacement or an interference pattern in the light, because in one direction, the light's going to have to travel further due to the motion that's in its environment, where you would get an interference pattern detecting the motion of the Earth.
What, the air? I mean, how would it detect the motion of the Earth if it's attached to the Earth, moving linearly with the Earth? How does that work?
Wait. So you think if I shoot light up above the surface, that it's all attached to the Earth in all directions, even if there's a singular direction?
No. When you say linear, do you mean linear like any direction in a straight line?
Yes.
Right. So when you're using that to detect apparent downwards acceleration, what are you using? Are you dropping objects?
No, you don't have to drop an object. It's just using light, right? It's using lasers, and we have perpendicular light, okay? If there's motion in one direction, then the light that's going against that direction, for example, is going to get to the receiver at a different time than the light that's moving with the same direction of motion. And this is a fact because we use these for incredible amounts of technology, bro. This is how we measure motion.
Who's we?
The whole world. This is how we measure motion.
Well, listen,
bro.
the whole world knows what an accelerometer is. The whole world knows that when force is applied to matter, we get displacement. What's it? So when there's an acceleration present, we get a displacement of different matter. Solid, liquids and gas, because listen, learn something. There's no force known to man that can accelerate gas, liquids and solids simultaneously without displacement. What's it? So when I
I get what you're saying.
Right,
I'm trying to tell you.
When I let a bottle go in free fall and I see no displacement, that means there's no downwards acceleration.
That doesn't mean that. It means that the buoyant force is stronger, and you say
the buoyant force from where? The buoyant force from where?
The interaction between the object and the medium
results
in pressure mediation, and that resultant effect is stronger than the downward bias.
So
answer this question for me. Do you agree that there's a no?
I want to go over what you just said. I want to go back to what you just said.
Downward electric. Do you agree there's a downward electric current on the Earth?
There's an electrical current in the Earth, yes, right. So let's get back to what you just said.
Is that a force?
Let's get back to what you just said a minute ago. What's it, right? Okay. So. Oh, fuck, where were we there? What did we just say a minute ago? Your gish gallop's fucking incredible. The claim here is that there's no downward acceleration of gas, liquids and solids. What's it? Your claim is that there's a uniform downwards acceleration of the gas light. So it was the buoyant thing, that was it, right? So if I've got the bottle that somehow is affected by buoyancy in the air, I would imagine, or by me holding it, I don't know what your thinking is. So when I'm holding this bottle, there's an air bubble rising in there and there's something sinking. And there's air at the top and there's liquid at the bottom. Now when I let that go, the air bubble stops rising. and the thing that was sinking stops sinking. So what was the buoyancy or something? How did it make the air bubble stop rising and the thing stop sinking? So it's a force now that's acting. Because wait a minute, the force now is acting in two different vectors. The force now is stopping an upward vector and a downward vector, and then simultaneously moving it all downwards. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't even follow what you just said.
Well,
this
listen.
is what's funny is you're desperately avoiding. You notice that as soon as I boiled it down to the important part, you change the subject.
No.
You
What's
agree
that?
to the downward. Listen, dude, I don't have time for this.
The only one that's avoiding is you, son.
In the future, bro, I have stuff I'm doing.
The only one that's avoiding is you.
So reckless, I jumped on here. Buddy, listen. You admitted there was a downward electric current on the Earth. Okay, you
that's
admitted
fine.
that. Well,
I said there's an electrical current.
Answer the question: is that a force?
Does it cause motion?
Well, of course it does. It's a downward electric current.
Where's it causing the motion?
In the atmosphere.
So what's it moving? What is it moving?
The air itself moves. The air itself is affected. There's a current. You can run a generator with it.
Right.
So the actual charge itself is moving. Right. That's what a current is. So I'm asking you. So if there's a downward electric current on the Earth, right? We have a downward force on the Earth. It's 10 microamps per square meter. It's very small, but it's measurable and provable that there is downward electric pressure on the Earth.
Right.
So if for your whole argument to exist, you have to claim that's not there.
No, I don't. You're straw manning me again and making absolute nonsense lies. And everybody can see through you here. What's it? You've been asked specifically for specific things. Nobody's denied the electrical current or any of that stuff. Not once has it been denied. Over and over and over again I've stated it. Right? And you continue to hammer on with that. What I'm fucking saying to you, what's it, is you're claiming that there's acceleration downwards of the gas and liquids without displacement, and I'm asking you to justify that.
And what did I say?
Gobbledygook.
Okay. Well, that's incorrect.
Well,
there's a buoyant relationship, right? And that results in pressure mediation. In fact, the pressure mediation is actually the cause of what we call buoyancy, right? And if you're saying that force is just motion,
so if you know the cause of buoyancy, listen.
You have to interrupt me because you know.
Well, no. If you claim you know the cause of buoyancy, then I'm asking you to invert it, manipulate it.
Wait, calm down. You said
No. You claimed you could control it, so manipulate it, invert it. Show me that.
You said that force is motion, and then you said that buoyancy is motion, and then you said that buoyancy is not a force.
Buoyancy is an effect of motion. That's what I said.
Okay.
That's what I said. But what's it? You can rewind it.
Okay, then if it's an effect of motion, what exactly is buoyancy? Then, like, what's the effect?
It's pressure mediation due to the motion.
Oh, due to the motion? No, the pressure mediation causes the motion.
No, it doesn't.
Dude,
yeah, in order to have, listen.
Buoyancy is the displacement of objects relative to their densities, thus pressure mediation. So your own position contradicts itself. You say buoyancy is not force. Force is just motion, but buoyancy is motion.
Let's clarify that. Let's clarify that then. So if we're back to relative density disequilibrium, then if I've got a bottle with liquid in it and an air bubble rising and something sinking and I let that go in free fall, it should continue to rise and sink within the medium. But it doesn't. It stops its motion. Dude.
If it's falling down, if the object is falling down, okay, but there's a buoyant relationship.
What do you keep saying that? You keep saying that. A buoyant relationship between what?
The object and the medium.
Right, so the solid bottle and the air that's surrounding it.
No, we're talking about inside the bottle, right? Are we talking inside the bottle?
All right, so what changes then? No. So for one thing, as soon as I let it go in free fall, there's no pressure within that medium anymore. None. Right? So what's causing the air bubble to stop rising and the thing stop sinking?
Say again?
There's no pressure. When I let something go in free fall, there is no pressure within the medium anymore, within the bottle. The pressure goes. Right? So if I'm holding that bottle and I've got an air bubble rising and a material sinking within the bottle and I let it go, nothing changed about the density of the water, nothing changed about the air bubble, nothing changed about the density of the matter sinking. Why did it stop sinking and why did the air bubble stop rising? Nothing changed.
Okay. Yeah, it's in free fall.
And
in order for you to make your claim, you have to claim a kinematic
what?
and dynamic you have to claim a kinematic and dynamic equivalence of the Earth being stationary and or something falling down to it, or the object effectively being stationary and the Earth moving up to it. If you say no, it doesn't matter. That's just physics.
No, it's not, Disney. I'm not claiming that the objects are stationary and the Earth's meeting them. I claim that the objects are in motion and lose that velocity.
Okay, but if it's in motion in tangent with the Earth, then relatively speaking, it isn't moving. Okay, it's called relative motion.
Oh, I know about relative motion. I just quoted my own video. What's it? But see the thing about I quoted about my video. See if I had an air bubble and water on one of the rulers and I moved that ruler, you would see physically that there was motion of the ruler because the gas and the liquid would displace. What's it? Right?
Dude, your ruler experiment or demonstration literally invokes relative motion. You understand that?
That's you. You've just invoked that. I'm just clarifying it for you.
Oh my god.
What's that?
You're saying you wouldn't be able to tell the difference in what was moving? That's called relative motion.
But what did I say? If I attached an air bubble and a little vessel of water to the ruler, and when I accelerated the actual ruler, you would know the ruler was the thing that was moving. Why? Because physics, the gas and the liquid would displace, because guess what, that's what happens under conditions of acceleration. Now, back to the main point, when I let the bottle go, there is no displacement. Listen carefully. Do you want me to show you a video? No, you're funny because you're dumb. If I physically accelerate the bottle down the way, the air bubble moves towards the earth and the liquid towards the sky. Now, when I let it go in free fall, listen, when I let it go in free fall, are you claiming it all accelerated towards the earth?
Okay. Dude, you're going to answer my questions.
You're avoiding the main premise. You're avoiding the main premise. And everybody can see it.
Dale, you're claiming that there is a change in acceleration while simultaneously claiming that there isn't acceleration.
Oh, listen.
I asked you, I said linear interferometry measures objects falling at different rates at the same location over time. And then you said, oh yeah, something like electrostatics causes it. So then you invoked acceleration. No, you did. You absolutely did.
I'm going to make you look dumb again. Because I said if I had a little marble, because what it's talking about is like solid pieces of matter, not gas and liquids in relationships to each other. He's talking about solid. Right, that's what Witsit's talking about, and I know that's what he's talking about, but Witsit thinks he's fucking smart. What we're talking about is gas and liquids and the relationship between the two, or the three, gas, liquids and solids, not individual solid matter and it falling at a different rate at any given time of the day, which can be
so solids do accelerate down.
No.
So is there an acceleration or not?
Not down the way, no.
Okay, so then why does the measured rate of fall change at the same location?
Because there's air resistance, there's static electricity, there's magnetism, there's surface area, there's temperature, there's the density of the medium, there's varying factors in that scenario, so that the object...
Okay, that would mean acceleration, that would be...
Well, acceleration regards... I meant downwards, I keep clarifying it by downwards. There's an acceleration in regards to a change of velocity, yes, because the object loses its momentum that it had when it was solidly attached to the earth. Right, so now that we've clarified that part, right, and we understand that, let's now get back to the main premise. Gas, liquids...
we're going to stay here because this destroys our whole argument. That's why you keep
you want to stay here because you want to avoid the main premise, and I've accounted for what you just said. I've clarified... I did. We're conflating solid bits of matter and your interferometry and your interpretation of that. And I'm talking about gas, liquids and solids.
It's nothing to do with interpretation.
It is.
Okay?
Get back.
Listen, it's very simple, Del. If your claim is that the Earth is moving up, okay, and there's no downward acceleration, that applies to everything. Liquid, gas, solids.
That's right.
Okay. Can drop. Listen, there is no air resistance. It's in a vacuum-sealed chamber. We drop a little BB. There's interferometry, so there's crossing patterns of lasers that scan back and forth and measure that object. That object falls at different rates at different times at the same location.
Right.
You've then invoked something called electrostatics. What you're saying is that there's a change in the measured motion of the object.
No.
You can no longer What?
Right? There's a change in regards to it losing its momentum. Its rate of deceleration is fluctuating. Right? There is no downwards. This is a bit that you keep avoiding, and I'm going to keep clarifying it for everybody. What's it's avoiding the main point? That the claim is there is no downwards acceleration. Right, what's it? If we got that clear, my claim is there is no downwards acceleration. Right? There's a loss of momentum, an acceleration, what we'll call it a deceleration. So the object loses its speed that it had when it was connected to the Earth. Right? And there can be different factors for that. Okay, so let's go back now. What's it? We're talking about the relationship of gas, liquids and solids. Under conditions of acceleration, gas, liquids and solids display displacement. Now, when I let the bottle go into free fall, there is no displacement of the gas, liquids and solids. When there is a claim of downwards acceleration, when I accelerate downwards, I see a displacement of the gas, the liquids and solids. But when I let it go in free fall, I do not witness a displacement of gas, liquids and solids. Ergo, no downwards acceleration. What's it? So what's happening?
Okay, you're saying that the object's decelerating, but when you're invoking relative motion, you're then having to say that's equally valid to acceleration. That it's like you don't understand your own claim.
No, you don't understand. Listen, I know my claim. You don't understand yours.
Respond to what I just said.
I've clarified it. You need to go back and listen. What's it? That's your problem, right? I'm not going to repeat over and over again so you can avoid the main points, right? There is no displacement of the gas, liquids and solids under claimed conditions of acceleration. That's your problem, what's it? So when I let the bottle go, you have to assert that the gas, the liquid and the solid are all moving uniformly towards a stationary Earth.
Okay, the actual change in the downward electric bias is extremely small and measurable. You're having to actually invoke it. You're conceding it. You're saying, yes, there's a downward electric current. Then you're saying that's not a force. And then you're saying, yes, the object will fall at different rates. So you're actually invoking acceleration or deceleration, which in relative motion are equally valid either way. They're the same thing from different reference points, right? That's what you're invoking. That is absolutely what you're invoking.
If electricity causes motion, it's a force. I clarified that. Now we're going over and over the things that I've clarified already. Listen, what's it? If I am holding a bottle, this is rudimentary and I need you to just go with me step by step. If I am holding a bottle with gas and liquids in it and I physically accelerate it with my hand towards the Earth, the air is now at the top of the bottle, the bottom of the bottle and the liquid at the top of the bottle. Do you comprehend so far?
Yeah, but you're claiming you know that there's no displacement, but that isn't true because the displacement would be very small in relation to the buoyant force, which means you have to have very precise measurement. So guess what I did? I invoked the most precise measurement that exists on Earth. It's called interferometry.
So there is this.
We proved that objects fall at different rates at the same location. They fall at different rates at different locations, and we proved that linear interferometry does not detect the Earth moving. Therefore, you have a claim contrary to actual empirical.
No. It's you that has a contrary claim, what's it? Because now you're saying it's so small that it is displacing, but it's so imperceptible that we can't witness it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you would need measurement to support your claim that there's no displacement.
Well, gas and liquid is a measurement. That's an accelerometer. What's it?
What?
Gas and liquid are an accelerometer. Do you understand what an accelerometer is?
Yeah, actually, accelerometers, like in your phone, they use capacitance readings, right? They actually use two conductive plates.
That's because
they measure the capacitance, and that's converted to an electric signal that they then attribute to G.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Because of displacement.
Displacement of what?
It doesn't matter what you're displacing, because forces cannot act simultaneously on different states of matter uniformly. What's it? Right.
Oh, so clearly you stepped in it. You brought up accelerometers. It turns out you don't know what they do.
I did. An accelerometer I've just clarified it. You just don't comprehend it. An accelerometer works because force is not multifaceted. An accelerometer works because when force is applied to a particular piece of matter, other matter stays where it is and it causes displacement, and that's how we read motion. right? That's how we know how much motion there was, what's it? So what I'm saying to you is a basic accelerometer is gas and liquid. If I accelerate gas and liquid in any vector, 360 degrees three-dimensionally, I see displacement. Downwards, upwards, left, right, diagonal, any direction you want. Now, when it comes to free fall, we do not witness any of that. Not only that, buoyancy and density cease. Pressure ceases. Density gradient ceases. Because the motion of the Earth is no longer present. Acceleration is no longer present.
Well, that's a convenient claim.
No,
right?
that's the reality.
This is like an actual stillman of your position. The Earth is moving. You just can't measure it. Everything.
You can measure it. Listen, what's it? Listen, here you go, right? So see if I'm holding the bottle, okay? And here's I'm playing with the variable, right? When I'm holding the bottle and the air bubble's rising through the water and I accelerate it more up the way, guess what happens, what's it? See the rate of the air bubble rising through the medium? It increases. And then see if I accelerate it the opposite down the way, the bottle, it now inverts and the air bubble now goes towards the earth and the water towards the sky. And I can repeat that in any vector I like. But the vector that we already have where water's level, it's already displaced, shown is the motion. If I add to that vector, I can increase the rate of the motion of buoyancy and density. Not only that, I can increase the pressure, what's it? Can you achieve any of that with electrostatics, what's it?
It's so hard to even hear through your accent.
Oh, fuck off. You're spanked, son. Away you go. Away you go and chant. Away you go and chant that you won something. You've been spanked, son. Fuck off now. Away back to your little fucking cult echo chamber and regurgitate the same thing and get patted on the back. You've been spanked, son. Listen,
okay.
You can't...
This is the truth, right? You want to talk about echo chamber. You have low IQ morons in here claiming that you're destroying me right now. Is there a downward electric... Answer my question. Is there a downward electric current on the Earth, yes or no?
There's an electrical current, yes.
Okay, and that's not a force?
Yes, if it moves things, it's a force. If it causes motion.
Okay, so...
The fact that it's moving...
electric force on the Earth,
listen.
How is it... Wait. How does that factor into your explanation of dropping the bottle?
The fact,
just go away.
See the fact that I accounted for this about 45 minutes ago, right? Yes, I did. I told you fine well. If there's motion, it's a force. So if there's motion present, it's a force. Okay? Because that's what force is. Motion. F equals ma, mass times acceleration. Something moving is what we denote as force. Okay? So we established that. You just don't comprehend it because you're fucking dumb.
No, you're not understanding the point, though. So if there is a downward electric force on the Earth, you're claiming that doesn't result in any type of downward bias or acceleration. So now you're going to have to invoke your little bottle experiment and explain the downward electric bias that you keep ignoring.
It's not. There's no downward electric bias in regards to gas, liquids, and solids. What's that? What are you talking about? I've just explained that to you. There is. You're the one that's. Listen. I use motion to display the pressure and density gradient, the motion vector of buoyancy and density, any motion vector, utilising motion, right? Displacement of gas, liquids and solids under conditions of acceleration. You're now claiming there's a bias of electricity downwards, which denotes that it must be moving the gas, the liquids and the solids simultaneously with no displacement. And what I'm asking you is to achieve that in any other vector. If you can invert buoyancy and density, if you can invert the pressure gradient, the density gradient, show me it.
Okay, and I've already told you that, look, listen carefully. If I have two plates, okay, and I put an iron filing in the plate, if I hook it up to a Van de Graaff generator, I can flip the polarity of the field and the object will go up. Even though the object's more dense than the air, it flips the equipotential surfaces and the vertical electric field, which changes the polarity of the field and causes the object to go up. On the Earth, we have a downward electric current and a vertical electric field. This creates the bias. The density relationship of the objects result in a buoyant, if you want to call it effect, I don't care, and that is much stronger than that weak downward electric bias. The way that we can measure and prove that objects are falling to the Earth and at different rates is using interferometry. Your response to that was, oh, well, yeah, stuff like electrostatics or electromagnetism will change the rate that it falls, but it's not falling. You're saying that.
See, the thing is,
you're saying that the. Go ahead.
No, the thing is when I've spoke about these things, as I say, I'm not even doing that avenue yet. I've not even got that far, and I've continued to try and say to people, listen, there's a conversation to be had about electrostatics and magnetism, but it's not responsible for the conditions of Earth. It's not responsible for the vector, right? That's what I've been saying, right? So again.
How do you know that, bro? How do you know that? Because it's a real effect that I can measure.
Because I go with practical. I go with the practical, right? So what I'm saying to you is you need to demonstrate again your iron filings, right? That's fine, iron filings. Demonstrate gas, liquid, and solid being moved uniformly with your capacitors, your two plates. Show me that you can invert the orientation of the gas and the liquids within the capacitors. Demonstrate that, what's it?
Okay, you would have to introduce a ton of electrostatics. I've never personally done that. But what I have 100% done is change the vector of the object, right? Simply by flipping the polarity of the field. What your argument requires is for you to dismiss all these other variables. Dude.
What? No, listen, I'm going to make a point. What's it quick, just to clarify this for you. See if I've got a solid iron block that's sitting on the floor, what's it, right? And it's denser than the air. But see if I put a fan under that and blow the fan hard enough so that it elevates it. Does that somehow mean that now we're talking about air blowing? Because that's exactly what you're doing with the electrical thing, right? You're elevating it like building a bridge, right? Or using a stream of some kind, like I'm just showing you with the air. That's not what we're talking about, what's it? That's a parlour trick, son, right? We're talking about...
Oh my God, you people are so retarded.
No, you're retarded, son. We're talking about uniform motion of gas, liquids and solids, which you must have on a stationary Earth. Right? You must have that. Now I'm asking that to be qualified, because my position can be qualified in any vector. I can recreate it. I can account for why buoyancy and density ceases in freefall. I can account for all these things, but you can't. You keep waffling about buoyancy, right? The air bubble stops rising, the thing stops sinking, and the whole thing's moving towards a stationary Earth at the same fucking rate. What's it? So you need to show me in your little capacitors that you've got an air bubble rising, you've got something sinking, and you can use your electrostatics to stop that from happening. Right? Halt it!
First of all, it's not the same rate. It's not uniform. Just because you keep saying it has to be doesn't mean anything. The fact of the matter is that you're ignoring objective reality to make your point, and you're saying, yeah, no, you are, because we have measured objects falling at different rates at the same location.
And we've talked about that.
The Earth moving up. You have to say the Earth is moving
we've spoke about that,
different locations at different times. or you have to invoke something. This is what you're saying. Well, yeah, sure, there are other variables that affect how we perceive something falling, but I promise there's something else before that, which is the Earth moving up. Just take my word for it. Even though we can't directly measure it.
I mean, I'm measuring, it's measured every single day. You can set an accelerometer.
That's called a reification.
You can set an accelerometer on the table, right? It's not a reification fallacy, it's certainly not. That's you that's reification fallacy, because you're taking a parlour trick and trying to superimpose it onto everything. And I'm clearly stating for you that you need to be able to achieve the things that you're claiming, and you can't. You keep saying, I need big enough. This sounds like exactly like a globe Earth. Well, I could recreate gravity, but I need a planetoid. I need a big enough mass.
What?
So
no, I've already replicated it, dude.
If
I manipulate the variable of electrostatics, I can change the vector of an object. You cannot even detect the alleged motion of the Earth.
I can change the vector of a solid object with air.
You assume it, and then you reify and affirm the consequent. Then you ignore the variables and claim.
That's you that's doing that. What's it? That's not me. I can elevate a solid object with air. What does that prove?
Dude, listen very carefully.
No, you listen. You listen. I can elevate a solid object just the same as you can with your Van de Graaff machine by using air. So what?
Yeah.
And?
Okay.
So what does that prove?
That's totally irrelevant.
No, it's not. It's because you're avoiding the thing. What's it? Can you invert buoyancy and density? Can you halt buoyancy and density?
When you knew I was about to answer, you changed.
No. I've been asking the same question for the last hour. Can you invert buoyancy and density? Can you cease buoyancy and density in their motion vector using a Van de Graaff machine or whatever you like? Can you achieve that, what's it? Because that's what we observe in reality in free fall. And if you're claiming that's what's the cause of it, then I should expect you to demonstrate it on a smaller scale. So can you demonstrate it? Yes or no?
Okay.
The answer is no, you can't. No, you can't demonstrate it, what's it? So it's no reality then, son.
Okay. So I'm really trying to follow you. I'm not even trying to be a jerk. I'm trying to follow you, but this is the facts of the matter. There's a downward electric current on the Earth.
I know.
And you admit that it's a force, but then you're claiming that whenever we drop an object, that there is no downward force affecting the object falling. Do you not understand that it requires you to ignore a provable variable to make your claim?
What you're doing is ignoring the fact that you must be accelerating the gas, the liquids, and the solids towards the Earth without them displacing. Do you not even comprehend your own position with it? Are you that fucking dumb, son? I mean, do you not know that that's your default position? A stationary Earth. How does something stationary have a vector in the first place? How does something stationary now have some magic force that accelerates gas, liquids and solids towards it without displacement? Have you recreated that?
Wait, time out. How is it a magical force when you just conceded it exists?
Because you're claiming it can do things that it cannot. That's the magical part. What's it? Now I'm going to ask you again. Can you invert it? Can you halt buoyancy and density in their motion vector? Can you cease the pressure within the medium? Can you do any of that? What's it?
You can absolutely invert the vector of an object despite...
That's not what I'm asking you, what's it? Can you invert buoyancy and density motion vector within a medium with your electrical field? Yes or no? Answer, no you can't.
I'm not going to say no. You would need a strong electrical...
I can show you gravity, but I need a big enough planetoid in outer space in order to show you.
No, I never said that.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing, you moron. It's the same thing.
No, dude, you want to know what the same thing is? You're claiming the Earth is moving, but you can't directly measure it.
It's measured every day. I'm measuring it right now. I can feel my own weight.
Oh my God, your own weight is you measuring the Earth is moving.
What's causing my weight?
Okay.
What's causing my weight? What's it? Here we go. There's another bit of intellectual insight. What causes my weight? What's it?
Okay, so weight equals mass times quote unquote gravity, which is obviously just downward acceleration.
No.
Volume times density. Volume times. Don't ask me a question and then not listen.
So you're invoking gravity? Are you invoking gravity now? Are you invoking gravity now? Downwards, a downwards bias of gravity? Is that what you're saying to me? What's it?
And look, and these people think you're winning.
I'm spanking you rotten, son. You're too stupid to realise it. Listen, what's it? What's causing my weight? What's causing water to be level? What's it?
Wasn't I trying to answer?
What's causing a plumb line to be straight down? What's it? What's causing water to displace level? What's causing my weight? What's causing my direction? What's causing the motion of buoyancy and density? What's causing the directionality? What's causing all that? What's it?
Are you done freaking out yet? I'm gonna try to...
Sure it's freaking out, son. You've done nothing but dance and avoid continually. Continually, son. So what's causing my weight? What's it? Without invoking...
You're such a little bitch, bro.
What's causing my weight? What's causing my weight? What's it? You says it's no measurable. What's causing my weight? What's the cause of weight? What's it?
I'm trying to answer, but you're a douche.
Don't say gravity, because gravity is just the motion of the earth.
Oh my God, dude. So I said, shut up. I said, the quote-unquote gravity, which is actually just acceleration, which is an agreed-upon average of things falling. We measure with interferometry. It doesn't matter how much retarded people on the internet with 180 viewers say nuh-uh. So the reality of the situation is that weight equals mass times gravity, but actually mass is just volume times density, and quote-unquote gravity is actually just little a, downward acceleration, agreed upon average, which is not uniform, and it's not constant, it fluctuates, okay? So your weight is going to be based on volume times density. What is density? The compactness of matter. What's the cause of the compactness of matter? What's the cause of the compactness of matter?
Density is another concept. Again, we've got two options. Okay. What's it? Is it me pressing down on the earth or the earth pressing on me?
I'm pressing down on the earth.
So downwards acceleration.
Yeah, I just told
right,
you
exactly.
Right.
No, you're no measuring it. What's it? No, you're not. Right. Again, what's it? Downwards acceleration. gas, liquids and solids don't displace in free fall when there's a claim of downwards acceleration. There we go. It took an hour for Whitsitt to actually categorically state that he doesn't claim downward acceleration, but then he's just stated it. He's pressing down there.
This dude, this is why it has to be moderated, because you're just retarded. Everything you say is a straw man. I never said there was no downward acceleration. I said there's no constant uniform downward acceleration. Okay? Whenever I said quote unquote gravity, but actually that's acceleration, and you said, oh, you're invoking gravity now? No, I specifically didn't, did I? Whenever the people in the chat say, oh, remember Austin says that buoyancy causes itself? No, I didn't. I said pressure mediation. I said pressure mediation. Everything that you're saying is a straw man.
Let's clarify pressure. Let's clarify pressure mediation. What do you mean?
Okay, pressure mediation, which is pretty tricky actually, but everything's intrinsically. What?
Go for it. What's pressure mediation? Go. What causes pressure?
Okay, well, pressure is force over a certain area.
What's force? Motion. So let's. I just want to know. I need to stop you. So when we say force, we mean motion, correct?
Mass times acceleration is how we define it. But
yes, that means motion. That's simply put motion. So what's it saying that motion is what causes pressure, correct?
Again, it's quote unquote mass times acceleration, which is actually volume times density times the agreed upon average in which we measure things falling.
Motion. Aye.
It's yes, something in motion is caused by a force.
And a force.
It's not that the motion is the force.
Well, what's it? In order to make something move, something has to move towards it. So motion makes motion. So something has to press on something else. So something has to be in motion to press on something else to make it move. So motion causes motion. Correct?
Motion causes motion.
Yes. Because you're defining force as motion. That's what F equals ma is.
If you would ever for once just shut up, then you could maybe learn.
Look, no, you need to learn what's it. But what's it? Your ego is not allowing you to see how daft you're looking.
Oh my god, dude! This is why it has to be moderated. This is why they want to jump in. You guys act like I'm scared. No, it's I know you have to interrupt me just like Glover.
Because you're not a man. Because you need somebody to fucking hide behind.
You are interrupting again.
You've interrupted me. Right. Doesn't matter. I'm not whining about it. What's it? You're the wee bitch whining and moaning because you're a wee weak male. Stop whining and deal with it, son. Right? So let's establish again. Let's establish it again. What is pressure mediation? What's it?
Okay, I'm trying to answer, but you're a psycho. So density is actually the compactness of matter. So all molecular and intermolecular attractive forces are electrostatic in nature that actually holds the matter together. So based on that actual relationship, you have a certain compactness of matter, i.e. density. That density has a relationship with the medium, and then that actual relationship is exchanged with electrostatic induction or transference, all provable and measurable, by the way. That results in pressure mediation, meaning the actual charge, right? The charge per volume is actually responding to the charge per volume in the surrounding medium, and then it begins to equalize. It equalizes based on capacitance, which is a threshold for electrical storage. So if the system has too much storage or too much electrical charge for its threshold or capacitance, it begins to discharge. People call that negative charge. Then you have positive charge. It's charging up because it hasn't reached its threshold. This relationship is actually what causes pressure mediation.
The motion again, and the discharge is just motion again. Again, you know, that whole word salad that we just had there was loads of things said in there that you can unpack, right? And assumptions being made about stuff.
Word salad, listen. You're just like a Glover, dude.
No, you're the Glover. You don't learn and your ego's overtaking you. What's it? You've got these mantras and these written statements that you just like to waffle on about, but you don't pay attention. And I told you, you're up against it here, son. Right? So we've established, right, that the real people, the ones that are actually rational and sane, we know that when we're talking about force, we're talking about something in motion, because that's what it is. That's what the whole foundation of science is. That's what we observe as change, and a change is motion. What's it? Right? Now, in a medium, in free fall, there is no pressure. Do you comprehend that, son?
No, I just absolutely destroyed you, and your response was word salad.
No, I'm not.
You're literally worse than.
I've got other things to get up to. This guy's a fucking imbecile. What's it? Continue on, son. I'm going to continue to spank you, and every time you utter the same shite, you've been asked to demonstrate how you can invert cease buoyancy and density in its motion vector. You've been asked to invert the pressure and density gradient, which you cannot achieve. You said things like, I need a big enough capacitance and all this stuff. You don't comprehend.
I never said that.
You don't
even understand.
Well, can you demonstrate it? Can you demonstrate it?
How can you be so arrogant and not even understand the
So mean it's arrogant. Can you demonstrate what I've asked of you?
Let's summarize the conversation. You admit that objects fall at different rates at...
See you later, son. I've got things to be around me. No time for fucking morons. Absolute fucking shit stain. Where am I here? I've got a call with Des, I need to go. See, the problem is What's got a wee cult, right? And he likes all these mantras, and he's got a wee group patting in the back, and he's fulfilled this egotistical nonsense. Doesn't even comprehend what a fucking force is. Doesn't he comprehend that what we're talking about, how forces act on gas, liquids and solids, right? And wants to just sit there, preaching to the choir with his mantras and hoping that it fucking sticks. Well, we're no his choir. Aye, I won't fucking beg for super chats while you spew your fucking lies. Absolute fucking imbecile. And the problem is they don't have any demonstrations, right? Oh, it's imperceptible. It is so when we drop the bottle with the gas and the liquid in it, it is displacing, but we don't witness it displacing, right? I need to go. Seriously, I need to go. I've got a call here. I'll catch you very soon. Take it easy, people. Take care.